Whispers in the window are angry waves. Way ho the sea of souls. Down to the mists as the ocean slaves. Way ho the sea of souls. Way ho the sea of souls. Way ho the sea of souls. Hoist the sails round the eddies and shoals. Hey ho, it's the sea of souls. Now drop the anchor and grab some grog. Way ho, the sea of souls. We'll make a new entry in the captain's log. Way ho, the sea of souls. Hey ho, the sea of souls. Way ho, the sea of souls. Hoist the sails round the eddies and shoals. Hey ho, it's the sea of souls. Oh, way ho, the sea of souls. Way ho, the sea of souls. Hoist the sails round the eddies and shoals. Hey ho, it's the sea of souls. Hey ho, it's the sea of souls. Sea of souls. Whispers in the window are angry waves. Way ho, the sea of souls. Down to the mists as the ocean slaves. Way ho, the sea of souls. Way ho, the sea of souls. Way ho, the sea of souls. Hoist the sails round the eddies and shoals. Hey ho, it's the sea of souls. Now drop the anchor and grab some grog. Way ho, the sea of souls. We'll make a new entry in the captain's log. Way ho, the sea of souls. Hey ho, the sea of souls. Way ho, the sea of souls. Hoist the sails round the eddies and shoals. Hey ho, it's the sea of souls. Oh, way ho, the sea of souls. Way ho, the sea of souls. Hoist the sails round the eddies and shoals. Hey ho, it's the sea of souls. Hey ho, it's the sea of souls. Sea of souls.
Hello. How y'all doing? It's well, I guess it's Family Day here. In some places it's President's Day, and then it's also Flag Day somewhere. So wherever you're watching from, happy day. It's also Monday. So It's always weird when like there's a holiday that's on a Monday and you're like, yeah, it's a Monday.
I mean, it's a Monday that's not really a Monday.
That's true.
Tomorrow's Monday.
But because it's Monday, that means that we are playing D&D.
Yay.
So that's always a good thing. Good way to end off a Monday. So thanks for joining us. This is episode 8 of our ongoing Sea of Souls campaign, where we are adventuring in a seafaring pirate-themed island adventure type area. I'm a little fuddled at the moment, so if I'm rambling, I mean, I guess I normally do, but I might be rambling a little bit more than normal. But anyways, so last time, our crew lost their ship as the Intrepid Devil sunk beneath the waves, heading fast for an island of refuge, trying to get every last ounce out of moving out of the ship as they possibly could before the captain gave the order to get into the boats and make for the small island that you had chosen as your spots to kind of make land. The island turned out to be home to an elemental hanging out there. Also found some treasure with some dubious pasts, and had some campfire chats, and then made your way to the shore of the Isle of Sands, hoping to make your way to Porto de Arias to speak with one of Captain Boone's associates regarding the goings-on at the Ivory Spire, and to find a ship now, since you are in need of one. So we left off as you landed on a stretch of beach with lots of debris from various shipwrecks, more than one shipwreck. And as you're kind of unloading the boats and making your way onto the island, a rather bedraggled, rugged-looking dwarf kind of stepped out of the tree line, very tattered clothing, long, disheveled, kind of black and gray hair, long, thick beard, wielding this kind of gnarled wooden staff, steps out of the woods, kind of takes a look at all of you, and very loudly just kind of, "What are y'all doing on my island?"
Oh, we've come to see the sights, explore the great yonder, and
The what?
bother crazy old men.
What are you doing here?
I just told
Who
you.
are you? Where are you from? What's your names?
My name is Bismarck Waldstein, Lord of the Southern Hemisphere. This to my left here is Rendrak Gartukar, and he is one of the dragon peoples. Over here you have Greenie McGreenskin.
How you doing?
And that's Turtle.
Give me a deception check.
What?
Hey, if he believes me, I'm just going to enjoy this even more. 8. No, he's not buying it.
I don't even know what a Southern Hemisphere is, but I know that ain't your names, but that's all right. What brings you to this beach in particular? You come a long
Well-
way in them tiny little boats, did you?
You could say that. We've sort of been, what's the word?
Shipwrecked.
Yeah.
Crashed.
As you can see, you're not the first. Look at all them ship parts along the coast here.
Is that how you came to be here?
No, this is my island. This is
Oh.
mine.
You own the whole island.
Well, of course. It's mine.
We're on
might be
the
a
we're on the
strong
big
word.
island, right?
I mean, it's fairly big. I mean, ain't the biggest out here in the Broken Isles, but it's good size here.
So would you be in charge of the port that's on the other side of the island then?
What port?
You know, the port. Port de
It's a type of
Arias?
alcohol.
Oh,
Very good for breakfasts.
There ain't no port. I
interesting.
ain't got no port. It's my island.
Hey, you asked us our names. What may I, if I may ask, is your name?
I don't know if I trust you enough to tell you who I am. You're coming to my island and you ain't being straightforward with me as to why you came here.
Well, to be fair, sir, you're
Talking
claiming this
about a
is
port
your
that don't
island.
exist.
Well, yes, there is a port here. I can show you on our map if you'd like to see it. But there is a port on the other side, so see it from our perspective. We come to this island that has a big port, has a very large presence, and you're claiming this whole thing is yours. So maybe you have some explaining to do.
Well, how do you know it ain't? You ever been to this spot here before?
He's got us there.
That's what I thought.
I mean, the
You're the
Gungrim...
strangers here. You're the ones who came to this island here, so you're telling me that it ain't my island. I'm telling you it is, and I'm the one who was here when you arrived, so...
Well, listen, Mac. Since
That's
we're
not
here,
my name.
Sorry,
That's
what?
a good guess, though.
The name's not Mac. No, I'll tell you my name. That's fine. The name's Trobin.
Tribum?
Trobin.
Trobin.
Hey, Trobin.
Tribin.
No, Trobin.
Trobin. Sometimes my teeth get in the way. Sorry.
I see that. It must be hard to talk with all them fangs in your mouth. Me, I ain't got much left. And he opens his mouth and you just see like there's like black holes, like a couple teeth hanging out there.
That is a gorgeous smile you got there.
Well, thank you.
So listen, Trobin.
Trobin.
Yeah. How long you been living here on your island?
Well, there ain't never a time that I wasn't, so always.
So you grew up here then?
Well, of course.
You remember being a child on this island?
I mean, vaguely remember some of my childhood, but
Did you ever
I
have any
And if you
other,
spent the whole life on an island every day would kind of blend together.
I mean, like, I remember pictures from my childhood in my brain where I saw trees just like that one. Or maybe it was that one. Oh, no, I don't know if that one was there before, but I mean, these trees all look the same, so.
I think this guy's a few oars short of a longboat.
I think you might be right.
I honestly have no idea why we're still talking to him.
I was also wondering that.
So where are you headed?
Other side of your island. We can go around if you prefer, or we can walk straight through it if we can perhaps get your blessing.
I wouldn't try to go around. You see them, there's lots of rocks up to the north, and you go south, you're just going to get some mighty tides that come in and sweep the beaches and the like. So cutting through the jungle is the best way, but why would you want to get to the other side of the island? Ain't nothing there.
Well,
Just
at least
water.
at least there we can't disturb you.
So what, you gonna carry them boats with you across the island to the other side?
That's the idea.
It's called portage.
I know what portage is. I'm just curious as to why.
For the thrill of the exercise.
Yes. Thrill seeking.
Well, you're probably gonna need a guide through the jungle. Mighty dangerous in there.
No.
I can tell you how to get through, seeing as it's my island and all, so I'd be happy to lead you.
Does he seem on the up and up to me?
Go ahead and
I can answer that.
I know he's a kooky old bat, but is he trying to lie to us intentionally?
give me
I
an
see, I
insight.
see.
Give me an insight check.
All right. What's Flick's read on this whole thing?
You've found yourself in enough situations and yourself having to tell tall tales, trying to spin a yarn or two to try and keep people at bay. Yeah, he's definitely putting on a bit of a show here. That you see a little bit through being as aware as you are. Like you can see kind of movements of his eyes, even his body language. It doesn't really give off that feel of legitimately crazy old man. Like there's an awareness, there's a stoutness, like to the way he's holding himself, that doesn't match with how he's talking at all.
Interesting.
Well, listen, Trobin.
Robin, yeah.
We appreciate any help you're willing to give us.
Oh, of course.
Being the local government, I guess you is, huh?
Oh, I don't like that word, but yeah, I mean,
You're
my island, so
You're the man in charge, and you're willing to show us around?
dwarf,
I'm
but
a-
yes.
I'm more than willing to accept your graciousness and showing us your island. Watching out for all the quicksand and killer snakes and whatever else we got in there, right?
Oh, there ain't no quicksand, not in these parts. Snakes, yeah. Lizards, dinosaurs, birds that'll eat you, trees that'll attack you.
I'm learning already. I'm soaking it all in. I'm your student.
Then of course there's
bandits show up every now and then, and I'm not even really sure where they come from, but they find their way to my island and walking through the woods and whatever. You gotta watch out for them too.
How do you convince the bandits to leave you alone? You just, they're not interested in an old guy?
Well, it depends on whether or not they linger. If they just kind of making their way through, I tend not to pay them no mind, and I can make myself not seen if I don't want to be seen. You know, having grown up here on my island, I know where to hide. I have ways of scaring them off if they overstay their unwelcome, as it were.
Well, you sound like a very useful guy to have on our side. And I like having people on our side for a change of pace.
Well, I never said I'm on your side. I'd be happy just to get you off my island. So if getting across the other side is the fastest way to get you off my island, then, well, all right.
Whatever floats your boat, man.
I ain't got a boat.
Yeah,
Just
we got it.
You ain't got a boat either? Well, you got a couple little ones, but...
Yeah. Are we seriously going to try and portage these launches? Because those are huge.
It might not be the smartest choice.
Strap them to Torque's back and let's get a move on.
Just Swiss Family Robinson, Torque.
Well, I suppose we do have
Whatever keeps this moving.
a handful of crewmen still. Like, give them something to do.
Yeah.
I'm sure Captain Boone and Lefty and Stumpy or whoever can.
I was speaking of which, at this point, you do kind of look over and the captain's kind of standing there with his three crew, and you can just see he's kind of got his arms crossed, and just the slightest bit of a smirk, like his mouth just up, just watching the whole thing. He's just like,
Oh, hey, seeing as we've got the diplomacy thing going here, I should introduce you to the captain. Now that we've established relations with the locals.
This here's Captain Crunch and Thing 1 and Thing 2.
All right, I don't want to hear from that one anymore. You're making up some strange names.
Oh, that one's Tony, that one's Sam.
Right. Hey, Connor, these ones with you? Yeah, they are. Part of my crew.
Well, see, now that could have just saved us 15 minutes, Captain.
Wait.
you just see him just laughing. He's just like,
Aha, good one.
the older dwarf, his demeanor shifts a bit. He's still like really like rough looking, but again, that hint of awareness that you kind of caught, Flick, becomes more in full display. He kind of stands up. All right, we've had our fun just messing with you.
Let's make all the magic people look like jackasses. Why not?
I just wanted to see how long I could keep it going. I'm surprised that you kept that conversation going longer than of course, this ain't my island.
Interesting.
Hey, man.
I mean, you never heard of the Port of Sands before, the Isle of Sands? I mean, you said you got a map. You really thought... Wow.
Hey, man, if the guy says it's his island, I'm inclined to believe him until he's willing to accept otherwise. So,
I will point out that,
That
if there's
might be a
one thing I
dangerous way to
learned
think.
in school, it was that no one owns land, man.
I beg to differ on that, but anyways, I take it that you're going to be wanting to make your way into Puerto Darius. Boone, you ain't got no ship. Yeah, the Tripper Devil went down in the waves. I had some misfortune on the way. I'm gonna have to get myself a new ship as we get into port. And these fine gents are. I'm more just, sea leg kind of fella. I ain't one for trekking through jungles, so I'm letting them take the lead. But hey, since you happen to be around, Robin, we'd be happy to follow you. The other dwarf kind of puts his hand on his big beard. I ain't got nothing better to do, so, I ain't going to be going anywhere near the port, but I'll definitely get you about halfway and point you in the right direction from there on. What do you say, gents?
Why aren't you going to go anywhere near the port?
Well, that's a story between me and
others.
Interesting.
Safe to say that I'd rather not show my face too close to the city at these times, so...
I can appreciate that.
I mean, there's a reason I'm out here looking like this, living in the jungle and not in the city. I hopefully can put 2 and 2 together there.
Oh, so you do live in the jungle. This wasn't like the captain sent you a message ahead of time to screw with us.
Nope.
Okay. I wasn't sure how far down this ruse really went.
Here I was thinking he just had some sweet style.
I live out here.
Interesting.
Call it half choice, half no other choice. Yeah, we'll leave it at that, but
Sure.
I mean, that sounds to me like he didn't have the choice, but, you know.
This is all ringing very, very familiar to me.
We all have choices. It's just a matter of the consequences.
suppose that's one way to look at it, but then again, you're young. You might learn differently after you've lived a couple centuries, but, you know.
I'm old enough.
I think I'm getting older right now.
I like this one, Captain. Yeah. Sour. Captain's like, yeah.
Now then, if you could perhaps point us in the direction of the port and we can get a move on. My flask is running dry.
Well, I mean, I could point you, or like I said, I could take you part of the way there through the jungle. I mean, if you want to walk into this here jungle on your own without a guide, it's been nice knowing you, but I'm more than happy to point you on your way if that's all you want. The whole part about me leading you and needing a guide, that was on the level. What do you say,
Sure.
Jens?
Either way, sure.
All right. One condition.
Of course.
Leave those boats behind.
Just gonna say, if we're headed to secure new transport anyway, we're not gonna need these launches anymore.
You ain't gonna need a couple of rowboats if you're getting yourself a ship. You're also heading into a pirate port. You're gonna find plenty of rowboats, even if you find yourself in need of a few. So, unless you plan on rowing through the jungle, leave them here.
Sorry, did you say pirate port?
Right, of course. That's what Port Sands is. Not them kind of pirates, though. Not a murderous type.
So just the thieving type?
It's a free port. It's not under anyone's jurisdiction. That's all he's saying, right?
Sounds like my kind of place. Let's get going.
I mean, yeah. It never always works that way, of course. There's those who, take charge and see to order, as it were, but, much more loose when it comes to certain types of rules and, no government oversight to, put a boot down on the
Yes,
neck.
sounds like a lovely place. We simply must get there as soon as possible, I think.
He's a might right ornery one there.
Yeah, just wait till his booze runs out.
I was just going to say, you don't really want to see him when he does run fully dry.
Well, you got enough to last you 2 days? It's going to be built that long of a hike. This is thick jungle here.
I can ration it.
He'll make do.
All right.
I mean, look, as soon as we get there, I'm pretty sure won't have a problem. Sounds like these are my kind of people by the sounds of it. I think we'll be just fine. Although we may want to, maybe Dinar should just not talk the entire time we're there.
Why?
Yeah,
I'm just gonna look at Flick.
I mean, okay.
I mean, you're all welcome in Porto de Arias. I mean, ain't nobody going to be looking at any of you funny. You got bright scales, but we all got something different going on. There's plenty of dragonborn folk in a town as well, so.
Yeah, Dinar, maybe, actually, you know what? Maybe you just get me to hold on to your coin purse, and then we should be all right.
Look, Taylind, I know that we have been through a lot now that we've been on the seas for a couple of weeks, but I don't know that we're at a place where I'm giving you my coin purse just yet.
Well,
All right.
I'll keep an eye out. Don't you worry. This sounds like the kind of place that I would fit in far too well.
Well, all right then. Gather whatever you need from them rowboats there, and once you're ready, we'll be heading in. Oh, and don't be surprised by anything that I do. Hey.
Why would we ever be surprised by you?
Yeah.
He just kind of gives you a kind of a wink and like, mm-hmm.
Just as long as you don't give us any reason to be surprised.
Well, I mean, you might be, but just
Tell you what.
it ain't gonna be dangerous to you. Let me just put it that way, right?
Tell you what. If you can manage to get Torque's face, an eyebrow or something to raise even half an inch, I'll give you 10 gold.
Nah, keep it gold. I ain't got no use for it, but
I was just gonna say he lives on an island. He doesn't have trade. Probably.
I'll take.
Give him 10 coconuts, maybe.
Have you ever had coconut water?
No.
It's actually rather disgusting.
Honestly, the most surprising thing is the fact that we're not walking yet.
That is true. I mean, I'm ready whenever y'all are. So
Walk and talk. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
all
We're just
right.
gonna start walking.
So as you gather everything you need kind of from the boats, your companion Trobin, he kind of steps into the forest a little bit, into the just past the kind of the tree line. That's what I'm looking for. And you see where he came out. There's no path. And a quick survey, there aren't really any noticeable paths. At least none that are like well traveled. It's just trees, thick trees. And so he kind of
Animal trails or anything?
give me a nature check or survival. Survival if you're looking for specific.
I'll do survival. 13.
Okay. There are there's definitely signs of animals and wildlife about, but it's more that there's no real like defined, there's no clear cutting, no marked paths that would be regularly traveled. This is like pure wilderness essentially that you're stepping into without any paths. Yeah. But seemingly undisturbed by that, the dwarf kind of walks in, takes a look around for a second.
All right. I think we're good for the time being.
And you watch as his form immediately starts to kind of shift, and he turns into a leopard. And looks around and kind of looks over his shoulder and pads off into the jungle, indicating for you to follow.
You know that was a surprise.
Really? Because that was the most expected thing at this point for me. All right, I should
It's
have
true.
known.
It kind of takes some of the shock out of it, considering one of us has also done that previously.
Keep that on the DL.
The last thing I need is him trying to ask me why I can do that.
Yeah, well,
Let's keep moving then.
tally ho.
All right.
This might be a good time to bring up that I do understand the language of druidcraft, so if there are any subtle signs or messages of paths, I will be able to point them out.
All right. With that noted, as you are led into the jungle by a leopard now, I would say, Taylind, yeah, you notice every now and then just a what would look like a knot on a tree trunk. You can tell isn't natural, like it's been twisted, manipulated a specific way to kind of stand out more as a marker. They're very, very subtle. They're here and there, but they're definitely druidic signs of passage and kind of landmarks, right? Less create a path and more to kind of just mark. He probably has a number of these marked throughout the jungle to kind of let him know roughly what area he's in.
Yeah, would I know that this is something that Like, would I get the impression this is something that he's doing himself for his own benefit, or is it possible that there is possibly a circle here?
Would that be religion? Yeah, probably.
I'm cool with it being a religion check.
Yeah, I think
I'm proficient, so I'm okay with
you're
it.
you're looking for signs of a essentially a religious order.
20.
20. Okay. This seems to be very individualistic. It doesn't seem to be connected to any specific circle.
Well, that's a relief.
It just seems to be kind of his, like, there's just individual marks here and there. And some of them aren't even like, actual druidic symbols that would be recognized elsewhere. But now that you kind of know what to look for and see as he's actually moving from like one to one, he kind of comes up to a tree, kind of gives it a sniff and moves in a certain direction. You get the idea that he's just marked in various different ways. He's marked this jungle.
Yeah, I don't need to know any more than that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he continues to, he leads you through, again, it is very, very thick. And it is a little bit slow going as you kind of have to, especially the three sailors and the captain who, this is totally out of their bailiwick. Like, they don't trek through the jungles. That's not their thing. So, there's kind of odd stepping and not really sure, a couple falls here and there. And it's painstakingly slow. And as you kind of start to make your way deeper into the jungle, the heat begins to become more and more oppressive as you just start to sweat and are covered in just dew and moisture.
I'm uncomfortable just thinking about it.
Yeah, it is like, we're talking like full rainforest thick here, and there's like zzz, you hear the flies and lots of bugs around. You see life everywhere, all around you. There are flowers and plants of every color you can imagine. There's big lizards, small lizards, some climbing up the trees, some that you've never seen before, very exotic looking lizards, some that almost have kind of like a neonish glow to different parts of their scales on their back, that when they catch the sunlight in certain ways filtering through the trees, it actually almost causes like a blinding effect, like a flash. And you can see that they kind of use that as an escape method, where once you spotted one and it'll do a turn, and there's a flash of light and it kind of skitters around the side of the tree. And they seemed to adapt it a number of different ways to make themselves stealthy and nimble in this thick jungle.
Is that simply a reflection of the light off of their shiny scales? It's not something that they're producing?
You could give me a nature check or an arcana check if you so desire.
I'll go arcana. 11 plus 7, 18.
You don't detect any magic. It does seem to be something that's just part of their scales, kind of the shimmer, the way that it catches the light. Your journey begins to become further slowed as it does start to rain. And though you are protected by most of it because of the very thick canopy above, there is still enough of it that sprinkles down through and kicks up a bit of a mist and a fog as well. And so it is very damp and somewhat dark trek as you begin to get deeper and deeper into the jungle.
Can I, just because I'm petty, can I cast Shape Water to just cause the rain to divert direction away from me? If I just continually keep it going.
I was gonna say, like, how long? Because
I'd have to be casting it once every like 6 seconds.
Is it a cantrip?
Sure, it is a cantrip.
It is a cantrip. Yeah. Like I said, I'm just because I'm petty.
Okay.
Just
I'm
sort
already
of a
miserable.
perfect
I don't
little
need rain.
cone of dryness.
If anything, it's diverting it all onto the rest of you.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. That's why storm sorcerers are awesome, man. It's like, what? It's raining? Oh, no, it's not. Not above me.
Yeah.
I see you doing this, and I'll minor illusion a jaunty little red umbrella over your head.
I appreciate that.
You catch some Snickers from the crew. Shorty is laughing pretty good at it. The jungle around you, as the rain starts to intensify, picks up more and more and more, it starts to get a little bit quieter now. And you can see that some of the colors, once the sun is no longer filtering through, a lot of that color starts to fade. And there's a sort of a gloom, natural gloom, but still, kind of a gloom that sets in. Even though it's, middle day, the sun is definitely out, but it gives you a very dusk-like feel. And it's a little bit offsetting, especially for those of you who have not spent much time trekking through thick jungle before.
Meanwhile, Flick is like, yep, another day in the wet forest. Who knew?
And Torque is just sort of walking through as all the water just sort of sloughs off his shell.
Yeah, Carafol has lots of thick forest and dense vegetation, so this would be nothing new for Flick at all. Yeah.
Is it starting to get dark enough that somebody like Taylind, who doesn't have dark vision, would be struggling to see?
Oh, no.
It's not that dark yet.
It's just like it's just not sunny anymore. Like, it's kind of a dusky, the colors are very muted and faded. A lot of the bright colors from even the flowers and stuff like that seem to kind of be more washed out now as the sun is not shining through anymore. And you see, it's almost like you can see now a completely different side to this jungle, where when it's bright and when it's sunny, that the exuberance, the life, the color is vibrant and overflowing. But now in the thick rain, it's totally different. The atmosphere is very much changed, not just literally, but feels that way as well. Yeah. Whoever is in the front, so I guess we can you have a guide, so we weren't too worried about it, but whoever would be at the front of the line.
I was thinking actually that Flick would probably swing around to the back and just make sure that the stragglers, like Lefty and the sailors, don't have something jump out of the woods at them. And
sure. Okay.
So I'll be actually bringing up the rear.
Okay. So who would be taking the lead immediately behind Trobin?
I do have the marine feat, so it allows me to travel twice the normal amount of time without being subject to the whole effect of like the forced march thing.
Okay, yeah.
Which I interpret that. I know that it's not going to make me move any faster, the group move any faster, but I kind of figured because of that, maybe I'm in the front.
Yeah, okay. You're a little bit hardier when it comes to land treks and stuff because of some of your training. So, okay. Can I get you to make a survival check for me, please?
Ooh, I'm trained in that. All right.
All right.
That's an 18 plus my 4, so 22.
22. Okay. The quietness around you. You stop for a second and you kind of ponder. You take a look around, and while you're certain that some of it is just because of the weather, right? That it's probably a lot of animals kind of taking shelter. There's another reason for things to suddenly get a little bit quieter, and that is usually when there are predators about.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of get that feeling as you're just reading the signs around you, kind of reading the activity of some of the animals, and then you look up at Trobin in his leopard form, and his haunches are kind of up a little bit, and his back is a little bit arched as you see him kind of like padding really slowly, kind of looking. He's like between some trees, and he comes to a stop and kind of sits. And when a cat like does that sit, but they've kind of got like their head down a little bit, like they're kind of
Yeah.
looking, and there's that like their tail has kind of got that like that twitch
Yep.
going on.
All right.
Yeah.
Dinar's gonna raise up a fist. I don't know if anybody behind me understands that symbol, but he'll stop and then raise up a fist.
You just see him being like, "Yeah, man."
Something going on, Dinar?
Yeah, teach Dinar how to high five.
Try to whisper over my shoulder.
Yeah. I think there might be something predatory ahead.
Yeah, it's the leopard.
No. And I'll point up to Trobin.
Can I roll survival to get kind of like a sense that this might be like the territory of a specific animal or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
Sorry, I'm not stealing your thunder there, Mike,
No.
am I?
No.
Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No.
Sorry.
Oh, let me get that up.
15.
15. The way that the rest of the animals seem to be acting in this area, almost kind of giving a wide berth, kind of does give you that inclination that you've probably stepped into a predator's, whether you're directly in their territory or kind of on the fringes of their territory. This is definitely the hunting ground of something.
You're gonna have the weapon drawn.
Yeah,
Even just in the way that like lizards and things like skitter, much quicker for cover and don't kind of linger out in the open. Gives you that sound like, okay, they're wary of something.
So I'm not an outdoorsman, but I see how everyone else is acting, so I'm gonna just do a quick scan behind us, make sure we're not being followed by any critters.
Dinar's gonna check the ground in front for tracks, large tracks specifically, as Flick is doing what he's doing.
Okay, so perception for Flick looking back, and survival for Dinar looking for tracks.
Ooh, solid 6. It is rainy.
through the mist, kicking up from the moisture and the cool rain and the humidity kind of hitting together. It's hard to see much beyond maybe 30, 40 feet. And you don't really see anything.
A high vantage point and seeing for miles.
Yeah.
Gotten lazy on the scene.
I rolled a 17 plus 4 for 21.
Okay.
You're on fire tonight.
I feel like I'm on fire right now, and when we go into battle is when I'll tank.
That's always how it works. Excuse me. You look down at the underbrush and the undergrowth, which is quite thick. A lot of tangled vines and the like. And as you're kind of peering closely, and you with your claw, you can move down and move a couple of vines away. And you do make out an imprint, and you can kind of see what looks like the side of a footprint of some sort. And as you clear some more brush away, it is a very large footprint, probably a good 1.5 to 2 feet in diameter.
All right, Dinar's gonna kind of place his hands on either side of the footprint and then stand up and face the group.
So, this is the footprint of whatever territory we're stepping in.
It's a big beastie.
Yeah.
Music does tend to soothe the savage beast.
Maybe we could...
Especially when it's laced with beguiling magic.
Well, I mean, the magic part is what I'm more interested in.
You said I'm not good enough to soothe the beast without magic? How dare you?
Does anybody else want to help me out here?
Nope, you're on your own on this one, D.
I mean, Taylind, if you want to take a crack at it, but I mean, without the magic, I fear...
As long as you don't attack first, and hopefully it's not rending you limb from limb while I'm doing it, may have a chance. I could start playing, but I'm going to run out of energy very quick if we do that.
Maybe making more noise is not the solution here.
I like torque, yes.
The little guy may have a point there.
I will point out that as long as my mouth is shut, I make no noise. They're these fancy new boots I got.
Oh, yes. Well, Traben has stopped. He's not moving forward anymore. So
you actually look back to where Trubin was, and you don't see him.
Okay, so he's gone. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing.
Totally reassuring.
It's not exactly reassuring.
I suppose with message, I have to point to where the person is, right?
You do, I believe. You need to at least have an idea.
With
of where
message,
they are.
yeah. Sending is
You don't
Sending
need
is
to
different,
necessarily- message. You don't necessarily need to see them, but you do have to know the direction that they are in.
Okay, well, I'll get my copper wire out. I'll direct it towards where he was. Traben, what's going on? Where did you go?
The response you get back, it's not language as so much as
right.
like you can hear like.
Okay, so it sounds like he's no longer a leopard, but some kind of monkey.
And he smells like one, too. Wait,
Yeah.
Neat.
I mean, if he lives on the island, he probably does.
I mean, fair. Probably smells worse than one actually, but
I mean,
He-
it's
he-
a rainforest. He's probably wet a lot. Bathing relatively.
Yeah.
Looking up, would there be any point in like climbing to get a better vantage, or is it just going to be seeing more branches?
if as you look up, actually, you do now see a ape-like form up in sort of one of the thicker trees that's got some heavy vines kind of coming down the side and some branches that go out quite large, and you can see just kind of hugging against the trunk and kind of in the perch of this one branch, you can see this sort of the coloring is sort of the same as his hair, as his dwarf. Like it's mostly black, but it's got some like flecks of gray in it, and he's just sitting there, just kind of looking around.
Well, the good news is, I think I found him. Also, good news, I don't think he spotted anything yet. But if we're looking for something with feet the size of my torso, then it shouldn't be too hard to miss when we do find it, right?
That's true. Assuming we can move quietly through the jungle and we find it first.
Yeah.
Traubin now scampers back down the tree in his ape form, and as he lands, he kind of shifts back into a dwarf. He comes walking over to you all. All right, I got good news and I got bad news.
Good news first.
Fantastic.
Well, the good news is that the whatever big beastie, I have an inkling as to what it is, ain't around. But in its absence, some other predatory types have decided it's time for them to move in on this territory.
Nature abhors a power vacuum.
If it was the big one, we'd probably be okay. Actually, they're a little bit docile for the most part, but in its absence, there's a number of things that might want to come in and feast on what they find, namely us at the moment. So we can hold our ground here for a moment, or we can move on quickly. I recommend the latter, getting out of here, but
Yeah, I think so.
we'll be making a lot of noise as we do so. Y'all ain't exactly quiet in the forest.
No, we aren't.
Especially them ones. He looks back at the captain and kind of gives a wink. And Captain Boone's just like, yeah, better on a boat in the sea.
Aren't we all?
Well, the sooner we get through here, the sooner we get back on the ocean. So, double time it and let's move.
All right. Now listen very carefully. We're moving ahead. Keep your eyes moving left and right, always.
Heard the
Roger
man
that.
flick.
Okay? keep your eyes moving. Left, right, left, right, left, right. Don't find a blind spot. You keep going. You check your sides as we keep moving. We're gonna move fast. So do your best to keep up. I'll try and get you to relatively safer ground. Some high ground a little bit further in. Got a little bit of hilly territory that'll clear up the jungle a little bit. I think it's probably our best bet to make for get us out of this.
Awesome. I will resume my position in the rear and flog these scalawags into action.
All right. So for this next trek, you will be moving quickly through difficult terrain. So we will be requiring some checks to see how you all fare through. So let's get our marching order if we can, just so I know kind of who's where.
Assuming that Trabin stays in a dwarf form, I'm assuming he would be in front.
He's kind of shifting back into his leopard form, which seems to be his way of moving fastest, quickest through here.
I can stay up front unless somebody else wants to take the lead.
Orc will go in the middle, just so regardless of where the threats come, he's sort of equidistant.
I will be right behind Torque.
Okay, and we said Flick was in the back.
Yep. With the crew and the captain in front of me.
Okay, so you're gonna be like right back.
Very rear, yeah.
And we're gonna hope that Flick's keen senses pick up something before we in the front find it first.
Okay. All right, so as you begin to make your way, moving quickly through the forest, can I get everyone to make a Constitution saving throw for me, please?
Ooh. As the vines whip at us and cut us.
Technically good at this.
Constitution save.
Oh, thank God.
As you begin to not run, but like moving quickly, and the thickness of the air, the humidity, a lot, the ground is kind of getting, kind of sloshy, and combined with the tangling of the roots and the rain just pouring on you, it's not an easy trek at all.
Yeah. I rolled a 10 total.
Yeah.
Sorry, 11.
Okay.
11. 8 plus 3, 11.
Yeah, I think everyone except Torque has rolled
Terribly? Yes.
rather poorly.
Yeah. So Torque, you're just like, I can breathe underwater. I don't see what's the problem with all you.
I think Torque's put his maul away at this point. He's just got his two boarding axes out, and he's just kind of hacking through the foliage like dual machetes.
Machete style, nice. Yeah. Okay. So you are slowed down quite a bit. You're not able to make as good speed as you would like, because it's every other step. It's like it's trudging, avoiding. You're trying to go fast enough to not linger, but also not so fast as you're just running blindly and tripping on everything. And so it's painstaking, and you can see Trabin is starting to get a little bit frustrated as he comes back, falls back in his form, kind of looks at you all and runs up a little bit again and comes back again.
Yes, meow, meow.
You kind of get that where he's like, come on. All right, you proceed on for the next few hours, and the good thing is that the rain starts to lighten up. It doesn't end, but it does become significantly lighter, and the thunder goes away. So
Yay.
the storm lightens a little bit, but it's still kind of like that, just kind of like misty rain continuing to fall through. Can I get Flick to give me a perception check in the rear? And Dinar, I'll get you to give me a perception check.
All right. I'm hoping for something bigger than a 2 or a 3. Those are my last 2 rolls. Here we go. Hey. Digits.
Oh, see, and it's going downhill. I rolled an 8 last time. Now I've rolled a 9 plus my perception of 1, so 10.
Okay. So you don't see anything ahead of you, Dinar. Flick, you do catch. Probably now that the mist is lightening up a little bit, you can see back probably about 100, 150 feet or so, kind of through the dense foliage. And just so you kind of stop and pause for a minute and look back, you just catch ever so quickly, just like blink of a couple eyes here, a couple there, and then skittering movement.
All right. If I mark those, I will, as we are continuing along, occasionally do a minor illusion of the. Just want to see how far I can put these. 30 feet off to the left, sound of sheep or a goat.
I was gonna say.
It doesn't want to be fed, it wants to hunt.
The T-Rex. Okay, noted. All right, as you continue on into the jungle, I will have you all make another Constitution saving throw, please.
Hooray!
You don't need to make survival checks to find your way because you have a guide, but it is still very difficult.
Oh, 19.
Oh,
23.
Better than last time. Double last time. That's
We're in our second wind.
2 + 3, 5 for Dinar.
Okay. Dinar, you suddenly lose your footing as you kind of take a step and your foot slips on a branch that is being slicked from the rain and the moisture, kind of that fallen branch just like covered in vines, and you step and it kind of gives way, and you kind of buckle down and suddenly find your knee, kind of from your knee down, not in quicksand. It's not quicksand, but like very thick mud. You're just kind of like sloshed in there and like you're kind of stuck in it. And as your foot kind of sinks in, you feel like something like a tingle, but then it's like a little bit sharper. Ow! There's like several little, almost like stings, and you start to feel like multiple.
Oh no!
Like stings, kind of on your foot and on your ankle, underneath.
Fire ants.
Underneath the mud. So you watch the dart just like ow, ow, ow. And your leg is kind of tangled and stuck in the ground.
Help. Little help.
Torque will try and pull him out, for lack of any better ideas.
Okay, give me a strength check.
Can I help?
Okay.
I will like grab a shovel or something, try to act as like a spatula, sort of like. So I'm not gonna
leverage. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So
I'll just say-
it's a 23 for strength.
As the two of you are, as you're like pulling on him and you're like doing that, I'm literally just gonna like pull out a sword and slide under and start hacking at this stuff.
Before you can even get to that, Taylind, Torque just like literally just grabs him, just like pulls him up, and you just hear like this kind of sloshing, sucking sound as your leg like pops out of the mud.
And then inspect his leg. Is it ants?
You do see not ants, but there are a number of small, kind of shiny black insects that are just kind of skittering all over.
Get him off. Get him off.
You definitely feel them biting in. So Dinar, you take 2 points of piercing damage.
Jerks.
And your leg is itchy.
I'll flip around my boarding axe and just try and like scrape him off with the flat end.
Sure.
Gust.
Yeah. At this point, the leopard kind of comes back, and he doesn't change form, but he kind of looks down, looks up at you. You can see kind of like a pleading in his eyes, like just kind of a questioning as he looks at you.
I'm okay.
Roar,
we can
roar.
keep going.
Meow, purr.
And he like turns and pads off again, leading the way.
Roar, roar, meow, purr.
You all make note of where where Dinar stepped in and kind of make way, and you can see now around that hole it's just like thousands of these black little shapes just kind of skittering and going back to underneath the ground. There are
It's
things
like a muck.
Yeah, it's just like it's muck covered in like hidden by leaves and stuff, but you kind of get the idea that without anywhere for the water to go during a heavy rain, it just sinks into the mud and just creates this very thick, grimy, mucky situation. Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say like potentially I could freeze them, but if there's like creatures all in them, that's probably not gonna work.
Yeah,
So
it seems like
just make it easy, freeze and walk on it.
it's not very large. Like it's just kind of localized to this one spot. You can easily get around it. Yeah, you can step around it. It's literally like he stepped on a branch, his foot slipped off, and like the impact just hit that spot and went in. Yeah. Okay. As you continue to make your way through this stretch of the jungle, it is taxing. It is hard. And it is sweaty. It is just gross. It's not an enjoyable situation at all. And even
just
you can
like
see
home.
the leopard's fur is just damp and soaking wet with like water dripping off of him. Definitely that wet cat look, which is just like it's like looks much thinner and it's just kind of drooping.
Mangy.
Very mangy looking, yeah. But you do see a break in of light, probably about 200 yards ahead, as you can see the canopy start to open up a little bit, and you can see the land start to rise ahead of you, and you start to kind of move up a slope. Just as you get to that slope, you hear off in the distance Flick at the back, well behind you. You just kind of hear like a
I hope we made it in time, gentlemen.
something heavy thudding.
You feel that in your chests? Yeah. That's hopefully behind us.
Pointing it out to you all, yeah, you can kind of hear it now, and more feel it than hear. Just a
Nearby puddle with the rings of water.
yeah, that's right, yeah. At the heavy crushing sounds, you do sense an urgency in Trobin as you can like
Yes. Get away from the big ugly monster. I understand.
And it does the circle at the front of you, like like the let's go circle, and like darts up.
Yeah. All right, boys, let's go.
Double time.
All right. One more Constitution save as you trudge through.
All right, time to get the lead out.
As the rain begins to lessen, there's a moment of we're like, oh, this is going to be great, and then the bugs come out in swarms.
Okay.
23, same as last time.
23, nice.
I
It's
got.
like finally snack time.
I rolled a 13 plus my 3, so 16.
Okay. So most of you are okay. Taylind, this is really starting to set in on you, and you start to feel just a little bit weaker, dehydrated.
Not built for cross country.
Strength kind of leaving you. So you do suffer a point of exhaustion.
Yeah, I do.
I knew I turned that on my character sheet for a reason.
Yeah. And you can all like looking at Taylind, he's just got that pale look to him, more than usual, and that kind of cold sweat, and he's just like yeah, looking around.
I'll do a quick survey on him, just making sure there's no ticks or anything else that he's picked up along the way. You don't need any infestations to weigh you down there, buddy. Let's just do a quick look here.
I'm not exactly out of shape, but
You give me an investigation if you're just looking kind of in general for anything that.
Sure.
I'm not built for jungles. I'm a city boy.
12. You notice a spot, like even kind of as you're looking at him, he just kind of like to be scratching at this one spot
Yeah,
under
man.
his clothes. It seems to be
That itchy spot. You got critters, man.
irritating
watch
a little
it.
bit.
I'm proficient in medicine. Is there anything that I can do to treat his bug bites?
You can give me a medicine check.
I guess that would be the place to start. Oh, that's a big 9.
Okay. So how are you guys treating Taylind? What's the process here? You rip,
Like the drunkard he is. No,
stripping him down. What's the?
I've got a herbalism kit, so I could at the very least maybe mix up just some kind of salve for the itching.
Okay.
So treat the symptoms, but not the cause, I guess.
Where?
Can't make a salve that repels insects.
I will say
Well,
that
if I had thought of that beforehand, then maybe we wouldn't be in this situation.
upon like inspection, as you're kind of looking and you can see where he's itching, and I guess that's up to Taylind whether he's willing to kind of like lift the shirt kind of thing or not. But
we're looking for that telltale.
I'm all right with doing that, as long I'm just gonna also grab the holy medallion and lift up with that.
okay. You don't see anything on the skin that would visually warrant such kind of irritated itching. There's nothing visible. There's no rash or anything that you can see, but
Nothing
the
but a
eyes of
glorious
Desfuna.
8-pack.
By the eyes of Desfuna, you're just about deathly pale.
Oh, that's normal.
I think that's
Are
just
you-
his skin.
Are you familiar with the sun? I'm not sure if you've ever seen it.
Yeah, a lot. I'm just always wearing a shirt. Some of us don't walk around gallivanting in the nude.
you know those lizards I mentioned with the scales that like flash in the sun and blinding? It's like the same thing. You listen with the shirt. It's just,
We call that neon white.
I'm gonna have the mortar and pestle out, and once I've ground something up, I'm just gonna hand the cup of just crushed herb sieve and say, just spread it on there. It will treat the itching.
I do want to point out, Taylind does have a tan. It's just that when you lift the shirt up, it's like paper white because he always has a shirt on.
He's
We're
he's
just
tanned
razzing.
here.
We're just
here.
razzing.
Yeah, he's got the marks.
right, the farmer's tan. Sailor.
Yeah, exactly.
Sailor tan. Totally. Got it.
Wear shorts in the shower. I get it. It's fine.
All right. With a quick little inspection of your friend Taylind and making a little bit of a salve to try and ease his itching a little bit, you press on as the ground starts to slope up. And walking uphill in this condition is also not as easy. But
Fantastic.
you do see like there's clearing, right? Like we're heading towards what we can see to be a little bit of clearing, which looks, it kind of gives you that hope, right? We're like, okay, we're going to be out of this really, really thick jungle shortly. So that's kind of like what you're all banking on. And you do manage to make it out. And as you kind of crest up this rise and kind of come out of the trees, there's still some trees around, but it's a little bit of a raised land, not quite mountainscape, but definitely kind of large foothills. And you can see now that the rain has let up. The sky is clearing. And looking back over the canopy, you get a real sense of sort of, one, how thick this jungle really is. And you all immediately see what is unquestionably the source of the heavy footprints.
Yay.
As reaching up above the canopy, it's just this massive, long neck. Kind of green with a little bit of palish yellow on it, and a very narrow head that is literally just like taking bites of like the top of the trees, like entire trees, and just
I don't know much, but that ain't the predator we need to be worried about.
No.
Unless you're a tree, of course.
Which none of us are.
Trobin comes out of his leopard form, and he stops and looks with all of you and is like, yeah,
That's the one that they're pretty mild. They don't really they're docile. I mean, they are territorial. They'll definitely defend themselves. It's more getting stepped on that you want to worry about when you're around them. But
You know, I'm not gonna lie. I always thought the sailors were just stretching the truth a little bit, but wow, they're pretty accurate.
yep, we got dinos around here.
You
Not
don't
too many,
really
not too
need
many
to stretch
left
the
on
truth
this here
with these
island,
things. Holy cow!
There must be quite an abundance of foliage on this island for them to be able to sustain such a large size.
Well, yeah, look at all those leaves shaped like stars.
How large is the population of these creatures on this island?
First of all, Torque, was it? Just take a look around, will you? Give a gander as far as you can see. You will see jungle stretching out everywhere. They got no shortage of food, and I tell you, the plants here, they grow fast with the amount of rain that they get. Fertile soil.
I'm sure
I think
having a
there's-
druid walking around doesn't hurt.
So you noticed that, did you? Well,
You turned into a leopard
And
fair
a
enough.
monkey.
and a monkey.
All right, fair enough. But I think there's only about 4 of them left. From what I can tell, I think there was close to maybe a dozen spread out all over the island many years ago. But sadly, a number of them been hunted down, and there's only about 4 that I know of.
Four-legged predators or 2.
It's always 2.
A bit of both, actually. But anyway,
Well,
we might be able to find a cave or an overhang of some sorts in these hills here. That's I would recommend we stop and rest and bring today's journey to an end. Y'all look mighty beat.
Yeah, I'm ready to pass out.
I can see that. You always just pale.
No. Oh, I hate jungles. No offense.
Hit the trees. The tree ants pop out. Take that back. No.
By that I mean I personally am not accustomed, nor do I care to grow accustomed to such landscapes. But of course, they should receive the proper amount of respect as all of the life and nature of the world. Yes? Yes? All right. Good? Okay.
Yes.
Robin kind of like looks at the rest of you and be like,
Is he talking to the trees?
I think he needs a good night rest. Yes, he's Remember what we were saying about how when he goes dry, gets a little shaky.
Right. All right. Well, let's find shelter and let's get you folks not rested up because we got more jungle to trek through tomorrow.
Whoopee!
Now it ain't as bad as what we just came through. That was definitely the thickest of it, but we do got some jungle left to get ourselves down south to the port. So you're gonna be wanting to be rested up, mighty nice for that, I think. Eh?
Before we hunker down, you said that we're up on an elevated area where we can see above the trees.
a little bit, yeah. Like
Okay.
it's you're kind of like it's like a foothills. There's no like you can see off in the distance. On the east side of the island, there's one very very large mountain
Okay.
with a few smaller peaks around it.
Mhm.
And then kind of stretching out from that in your direction, there's like a series of just kind of like rolling foothills that eventually kind of fade off into the jungle that you guys came out of. So you've just kind of crested up into that raised middle area of the island that's a little bit higher than.
Okay. From here, is there any sign of the port?
Give me a perception check.
Okay. Perception. Oof. That's a 4 + 1. 5.
Can we even see the ocean from here?
It's hazy. All you can see is mostly trees. You can kind of make out. I mean, there's a spot where like the trees kind of end. You can just see like blue on the horizon, but not enough to make any detail. And you gather that how far down, like how high up you are from sea level, how many trees are kind of blocking your view between where the port actually is. It's kind of hard to tell from where you're looking. Yeah, but you're definitely on a little higher ground than you were. One thing that does change as the evening kind of starts to set in is the wind does start to pick up, and there's a bit of a steady breeze, but it's a warm breeze. Not in the overly hot way, but as night begins to cool, and you know when like you get the summer, you just get that like that nice warm breeze that keeps it a nice moderate temperature, like well into the evening. That's kind of where you're getting. Like the sun's gone down, there's coolness from the shade, but then that warmth from the wind, it just makes it actually very comfortable, and you know, it's actually quite pleasant now that the rain has stopped and you start to dry off a little bit.
Do we have
salt air, but it'll do.
Do we have any food left over from the previous night's fishing expedition?
Probably. You got caught quite a bit of fish, and you had enough trail rations, provisions to last a number of days. So,
is it safe for us to have a little fire here? Maybe dry some of our crap off.
oh sure, yeah, there ain't too much comes up in the hills these ways. Pretty barren. Most of the predators and like they stay down in the tree cover. So, want to have a fire for a little bit. I would recommend that in when we get into the deep of night that we find somewhere maybe less out in the open to hunker down. But for now, I'd be happy with a fire myself.
Excellent. Hey, one of you magic guys, because this wood's super wet, so it's going to take supernatural means to get this thing going. Anyone got
Yeah.
Don't look at me. Fire's not really my thing.
Yeah, I can throw some fire bolts at it, dry it out, and then light it.
Perfect. I will give the appropriate amount of space for this to happen. And,
You proceed to set up with the help of magic and a little bit of know-how. Yeah, you guys make a decent fire.
dry boots at last.
Find some spot to settle down. The hilltop dries pretty quickly, just from the warmth. Even before the sun kind of faded it. Definitely much different terrain here, than down in the jungle where it's kind of exposed, and you can definitely feel like it's much more solid beneath you, and so it doesn't take quite nearly as long to dry. That sogginess goes away pretty quickly. There's still the like certain spots you sit, you get that kind of like damp spot, and you get like numb bum. You're like, I gotta shift a little bit, but but it's nice. It's not too bad. Fairly comfortable, all considering what you've come through. So, as you're kind of sitting around the fire and starting your rations, Traubing kind of leans in a little bit and speaks up. So, what exactly is it that brings you to Port Darius other than getting a ship? Because I know you said you want a ship, but you must be sailing here for a reason in the first place.
Don't particularly see why it's important you need to know that.
You're a very defensive one, that's all right. I'm just curious is all. Ain't that right, Kit? Oh, you look at Captain, just...
He's had a big day.
Captain snoring.
Lovely idea the captain just made.
Now, don't take no offense to my questioning there, young master. Just curious is all.
Well...
Yeah, you know what they say.
You don't need to divulge everything if you don't want to. That's
Curiosity killed the leopards.
Leopards can kill back. I wouldn't do that unless
Kill back. If you're dead, you can't really kill anything.
Well, unless you come back.
I was gonna say we've seen some stuff recently that.
Torvik, were you there when the ship went down?
Point taken.
Been seems to be happening a lot more recently. Normally it's always been kind of a thing for the Sea of Souls for there to be the dead what don't stay dead, mind you, but they've been making them way into the archipelago here and populating some of these islands as well. And I've even seen a few a little bit to the north on this here island too.
You've seen the undead here?
Farther north, aye. Not anywhere around here. North end of the island. You know, the part that borders the Sea of Souls.
I was gonna say the part that actually touches the bad water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't want to see one of them giant lizards coming back from the dead. Thanks.
No.
That'd be mighty scary. But you heading in for trade for?
Well, you're not the only friend that Captain has in the islands. Let's.
Oh, that's for sure. Boone knows a lot of folk. Let me tell you.
Yeah. And we need to consult with another one of his buddies. That's what it boils down to.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, the captain knows you better than us, so
If
he wants to share with you what we're really doing here, that's his prerogative. But well, we don't know you as well.
You don't. That's a good answer for a captain's crew. Captain would be happy to hear you expressing that sort of loyalty and the like. So, fair enough. Well, I'm going to scout ahead a bit and just see what the lay of the land looks like for our trek tomorrow. But I recommend y'all don't stay up too late. We're going to have to get an early start and make our way through jungle. So fill your bellies and find a spot to sleep. Especially you, Taylind.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish this drink and then I'm gonna fall down.
I've seen dwarves underground with a better tan than you. My word.
Above game, I feel slightly guilty for starting this running gag now.
Once Traben is out of earshot, I want to talk to Taylind. The other guys can be here too. Before Taylind passes out from his drink, but it's nice to hear that he's a little bit loose. So, Taylind, I couldn't help but notice when you were referring to our friend here, our guide, as a druid, that you seemed a little upset with him about that. You know, given that you yourself clearly have the abilities of a druid. What's up with that?
Hey, just because I know how to do what they do doesn't mean I like them, alright? Besides, if an actual druid were to ever witness things, me doing what I'm doing the way I do it, it's just not really a situation I want to be in. They're not going to like the way that I'm doing things to their order ways.
I mean, I kind of get where you're coming from. I'm sure of a real proper wizard, seeing the little tricks and gizmos that I'm pulling off here. I'm sure I'm an offense to your eyes at some times.
Let's just say that the magic that they use is not supposed to be brought about by shanties. But I'm not exactly a hymnal type of guy.
Okay.
So you're not doing it by the book. I'm cool with that. I'm also a not by the book kind of guy, you may have noticed.
Didn't your powers literally come from a book?
I mean, yes, but I'm speaking about the figurative book at this point.
I wouldn't necessarily call any of us conventional.
Tork's got a point there. Yeah.
Then again, if you're in search of a crew that is exemplary of their race or creed or standing, you're going to be hard pressed to find one.
See, the trouble with druids is their goddamn neutrality. All right, they're always talking about maintaining the balance of nature and ensuring everything settles into place. They're never willing to just take action and get the things that need to be done completed, you know? It's like, well, sure, good, evil, what is people, nature, all life is to be respected. It doesn't matter what they've done. You must treat their life as a precious gift. Nah, shoot them in the goddamn head.
Who is them?
As people who deserve it.
And I think this is when we say good night, Taylind.
I'm very tired.
And gently boop you on the forehead and push you over to lie you down.
Do you feel heavy? Your eyes drop with grief.
Night.
I almost wonder how much of that was real.
Give me a medicine check.
He is exhausted as well. So.
Fleck, give me a medicine check as
medicine
touch.
Oh, you touched his forehead. Oh my goodness, is he sick?
Ooh.
In vino verita, as they say.
Okay. You're not sure of the cause, but he definitely feels very warm. It's like you kind of touch his head, and it's like, and afterwards you're like, ooh.
It's like, huh.
That, yeah.
I don't know from humans though, so
That's a good point, actually.
Might I take a look with my slightly higher medicine?
Sure.
That's
Slightly higher. Slightly higher.
He says.
He is burning.
Nine.
up.
What is that? 19 higher? Yeah.
Yeah, he is. There's definitely, as you kind of inspect, Taylor's in really rough shape.
This is problematic.
You can now see, like, some kind of like discoloration in his eyes. His head is just like blistering hot. Other spots in his body are almost like burning to the touch.
Get his shirt off. We need to inspect his wound. I'm just going to immediately have the herbalism kit out, and I'm going to immediately start rifling through what I have in there to see what's going to be of use.
Okay.
Good thing I'm out.
Yeah, you weren't. Taylind has passed out, and he's now out cold.
In which case, the golden tree of Morentha amulet would be clearly visible under the shirt.
She like dangles out, you know.
You have to get the waistcoat off too. Because of course he has a waistcoat on.
dress him up.
Jungle? Why
Yeah.
not?
Right. So you're going to inspect the spot who's itching, or what's your?
Yeah. For
To be honest, he really only did reveal like half because he didn't.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was not the time for modesty.
So with that medicine check, I'll say that you're able to do a clear look, kind of in the spot that Flick had pointed before, where he was kind of like really itching at, and you can see that he's been itching at it, as it's been going along. There's kind of been that constant itch, and as you look really really close, you don't see any redness or anything around, but Torque, just having a knack, you're like something's going on, and you look really really close, and just barely visible in like the tiniest little spot, almost like it's like smaller than a freckle, there's just this tiny little black something just barely sticking out of his skin.
Like a stinger?
Neat.
Like a tick?
Just something. It's like barely, just like tiniest little thing.
Maybe it's a snorkel. There's a
Can
big inside.
Can I roll nature to see what that is, maybe?
Sure. Oh man.
Dr. Torque, MD, reporting for duty.
No kidding. Wow.
You think back to your trek through the jungle, and kind of going within your mind palace, as it were, and just like envisioning
Torque's mind palace.
Totally. just you're like, I just picture him like, your eyes kind of closed, you're envisioning your trek through, thinking about the different things that you saw and encountered, and you go back to that moment when you pulled Dinar up out of the muck, and there was those little black beetle-like insects, whatever, that were just crawling everywhere. And kind of looking at this thing now, it looks like almost like the leg of one of them. And you can see now that there's there is a little bit of a bump, like a slight raise to the surface of his skin, almost as if something has burrowed inside.
Ugh.
Well, he's certainly not going to like what happens next. Do
we
I know how to
amputating?
safely remove this thing? I think that we should wake him up. We should probably wake him up for this.
I'd say with that medicine and that nature check, this is Dr. Torque, man.
Like he's already heating a dagger in the fire for no good reason.
Wake him up,
I don't know
and
why.
Torque is going to just grab a branch off the ground and just break off a piece.
Okay.
And he's just going to sort of like gently slap Taylind awake.
Okay.
Oh.
Taylind, you do not wake up.
Oh.
Ah.
He's that good.
Torque, you give him a little bit of a and he's just like no response.
All right, I got 2 nat 20s. How do I treat this bug bite?
I would say your understanding is this thing that has burrowed into him needs to get out. There is no treating him with that stuck in him. It needs to leave his body.
Question.
How's that knife coming?
She's ready, Doc.
Question for you, Craig.
You're
Before
more
we do this.
dexterous than I am. I feel like you should probably.
Hey, yeah, you want to keep him from bucking a bit, and I'll see if I can carve this thing out.
Go
I'm
ahead,
gonna
Dinar.
try
No.
and even though he's asleep, I'm going to try and get that piece of what I have, that piece of stick, into his mouth, just so he doesn't bite off his tongue.
Okay.
I had a question for you that's relevant here. So as a Lucient Kushkiri Dragonborn, I have the ability of Inner Light.
Yes, you do.
I was curious. I could just turn it on. Is it something where like all of my scales radiate, or can I locate that to a specific part of my body?
You're thinking
Oh,
like
that's
a
good
flashlight
question.
kind of thing?
I was thinking about creating light for them to work around, perhaps to assist with what's going on. I mean, if it's my whole body, it's my whole body. But I was thinking, like, if I could just do an arm.
Give me an Arcana check.
Okay.
A trench coat and sort of.
That's a 6 plus 7. So 13.
It's definitely an unusual use of kind of your innate ability, and I'd say it doesn't function as well as we would expect, but you do manage to kind of like focus that glow a little bit kind of to your palm, and it gives off dim light. It's not like a bright light that like very like like flashlight on the area, but it does increase the light
Okay.
around the area. Yeah, and you can see now, like as you shine the light on it too, there's definitely like a little like little twitch every now and then of that little leg
So
sticking out.
gross.
Just
So gross.
Yeah. Let's get this new pet out of here, huh?
is this should this have been a content warning one?
No. No.
We'll put up a content warning on the VOD.
We will.
Well, it depends on how graphic we get in just a moment here. How badly I botched this roll may determine that.
No worse than any TV shows.
If I'm like restraining Taylind, just making sure that he doesn't hurt himself in response to this, would that confer the help action for what Flick is about to do?
Yeah, I can say so. Yeah.
In that and the extra light, I think I've got help from.
That was the goal, yeah.
All right, so you're going with the dagger to try and accurately kind of get down to like you're gonna try and pierce the skin to like get this thing out.
I'm just gonna, yeah,
I'm gonna call this a sleight of hand
sure will.
to have that complete control and dexterity of hands and fingertips. Have that surgeon's hand. I kind of liken that to
You washed your hands first.
Here we go. Back and forth. All right, here we go.
We could really use some inspiration right now. I mean, I can give advantage, but
All right, with advantage here is the sleight of hand check. Thank God.
Okay, nice. It
Oh,
does
man.
prove to be very tricky, as there's that moment where you start to kind of like pierce the skin, and there's that frantic wiggling where it's like
Stop
the bug,
moving, you little devil.
it's trying to get away and trying to get deeper, but you manage to kind of like get it quick enough where you just like in like and out and kind of break the skin, and there's a little bit of like a as this little black critter just like pops out and kind of lands off to the side and just like skitters off.
And I grab Taylind's gun and shoot it in the ground. like the mummy,
as the bug as it pops out, there's no blood that comes out, but there is a dark pus, like a blackish.
Oh,
No,
that's
we've seen
not the right
this.
color of
just,
stuff.
like,
We've seen this before.
just starts to like ooze out.
All right. This is not like more of them. It's not like eggs or anything, is it? I don't want to fish around in there too much, but this is not the right color of stuff to be coming out of him, right?
can I make another salve with my herbalism kit this time to try and just like make, something with like the right herbs or something that would sort of draw out any of that residual venom?
Yeah, I'd say again, like I'm just gonna lean on those two nat 20s you got there with medicine and nature. that Torque's got a solid grasp on this, and you understand this to be. There's nothing nefarious about it as far as like magical or otherworldly. It just simply is the
circle of life.
It's just like the infection from this creature.
Right. It's just like a poison essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just nature.
So you managed to, without going into detail, which might be disturbing for some viewers, you do manage to extract the ooze, the pus, to get it out, and you do see.
My idea of how it happens in the fiction is just that I make a paste and then smear that on the wound, and then it just kind of draws all those toxins out of body and into the paste, and then I just sort of wipe that off.
Sure, and then you do see nice clean blood flow that you're able to very easily stem and kind of cover over, and immediately you see color returning to Taylind's face, and his temperature begins to drop back down, and his unconsciousness goes from a deep unconsciousness to more of like a deep sleep, and you can kind of see that that change kind of come over him. So yeah,
might use a splash of that booze on the wrapping here, but I think it looks all right.
Now that the immediate crisis is solved, how many of us noticed that necklace?
Oh, I mean, it's right there.
It's pretty obvious to see it. Whether or not you recognize it or not would require a religion check.
I'm proficient.
I would hope so. You're the most religious out of everyone here.
Yeah, but I'm not feeling that religious right now.
You're really very religious. You're very, it's, what is it, selective religiousness?
It's a narrow focus. I've got a bit of a tunnel vision.
To be fair, you've been away from civilization for a long time, and you haven't really kind of kept up on your deities and symbols, and like it there's some recognition, but it's like it's like on the tip of your brain, and you're like, nah.
Well, Torque is going to make a point of not conferring with any of the others about this and just pretend he didn't see it.
Okay. So what you do see is that it is a golden tree. That's very kind of elaborate, and it's just like it's a tree that's got, the whole thing is golden. It's got like a nice bloom of thick leaves, and it's all solid gold.
Well,
I'm observant enough to at least have spotted it, and I will just roll religion just because I'm curious, because he hasn't brought it up, not with advantage. Try that again. Ooh, there we go.
You do recognize this. Having made your way out out of Careful and kind of across the island of Galadrin, like to Easthold, you likely would have passed either through or by the city of Galadrin, and would be familiar with the Wavesong Temple, which is the temple of Marentha, who is the goddess of nature. She's kind of like the prime deity of many religions, many like nations around, and this is one of her symbols. She has various symbols connected with kind of the different aspects of nature, but this is definitely one of them. So this is
that totally tracks with what I know about him, and
yeah,
he hasn't brought it up.
The Wavesong Temple.
From Taylind Wave Singer.
Yeah. Nope. That's
interesting. I'm starting to put putting some puzzle pieces in Mike's brain together.
Yeah. So you do recognize.
All right, I filed away.
Belongs to.
A little bit of trivia about the guy. I'm not, I don't care.
Mother
something
Nature,
to fill out. Something to fill out the wiki, you know.
Yeah.
Something to put at the bottom of his wiki page.
When he's nice and soused and he's talking about something crazy, I might ask him about it. But for now, it's his thing. Whatever.
Okay.
Yep.
At this point, your dwarven friend Traven kind of stalks back into camp, and he just sees you all, kind of sees Tail on the ground. He's just like,
he's all right.
Okay. Yeah.
He'll survive.
All right.
He picked up one of them little black jungle ticks.
Ooh. Those are nasty.
Yeah.
I've had a few of them get through my skin in the past. I had some crazy fever dreams once, let me tell you. Whew, boy.
Well, you've lived here for some time. Anything you recommend to repel them so this doesn't happen again?
Not much to do to repel them. You just don't want to stay put for too long in one place in the jungle. Out here, we're not going to really see too much of them on our way further south. They kind of tend to be localized to the western coast, so we'll be all right. But did it bite him, or was it a burrower?
It burrowed, yes.
You got it out?
With some effort, yes.
Yeah, you'll be fine then. Yeah, might be a little bit woozy. It's kind of like being drunk, actually, which seems to be normal for him. So you might not even notice the difference in the morning. You'll be all right.
Probably enjoyed it.
Well, I don't know about that.
Should we go back and collect a few? Like, is that?
It's like it'll be one nasty hangover. Let me tell you that. His head's gonna be buzzing, something fierce, but he'll be all right.
I mean, he's not aware that this happened. Maybe we don't tell him.
I'm in favor of that.
I will leave that to you. I'm gonna go find somewhere to sleep for the night. So, good night. See you bright and early.
Yeah. So I guess we three need to split the watches. We'll let Princess here sleep this one off.
All right. As you settle in for the night and look to take watches, why don't we take a break at this junction in time?
Sounds good.
I can freshen my hot leaf beverage.
There we go. Hot leaf beverage. You mean tea?
Yes.
No, hot leaf beverage. That's what he said.
Oh, tea. Yes, right. Sorry, tea. We can't say tea for copyright reasons. So.
Yeah. We don't want to get DMCA by Big T.
That's
By
right.
big-
Oops. Totally
Big
gonna.
tea.
Oh,
my
is that
word.
it?
Oh my word.
Nondescript leaf beverage.
Nondescript leaf beverage. That's right. All right. Yes, we'll take a short break and we'll be back soon. So, see you soon. Hang around. Hello. We're still here. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. All right. So, we are setting in for the night. Taylind sleeping a little bit more comfortably now. Not quite fully knocked out, but still out, which leaves the three of you to set a watch. So who would like to take the first watch? I also point out that, as we've already noted, Captain Boone and three crew who were not used to land trekking by any stretch of the means are passed out.
I think Flick still has enough nervous energy from a performing surgery that he'll be.
I'm happy to go second.
First. All right, Torque will bring up the rear.
Okay. All right. It is it's a very, very beautiful, comfortable evening. There's that nice, warm wind actually. And even kind of up in the center of the island here, now that things have kind of quieted down, you can just catch that, that scent of the sea, as it brings it in and carries it. And it's very, very pleasant. A nice reprieve from the previous few days excursions. So Flick, as night sets in, go ahead and give me a perception check for your watch, please.
Perception.
Okay.
Respectable.
Far out of eye shot, but still within earshot, way off in the distance though. You gather coming more from the north, where there's still lots of thick jungle. You do just kind of hear a
yeah, not gonna get used to that.
kind of getting quieter as it seems to be moving off in a different direction. But other than that,
yeah, during my watch, I'll probably be just noodling around, leafing through my book a little bit, playing with my minor illusions, and doodling on the trees with it and stuff, just farting around and not really paying that close attention, as evidenced by the 13.
And then you look up, you're like, huh, what?
Yeah.
Dinosaur. But yeah, your watch passes otherwise uneventfully.
Beautiful.
The watch passes uneventfully. The night did not.
And comes to Dinar's watch.
All right. It's actually good. That's 17 plus 1, 18.
18, okay. The wind has died down, and it's quite calm now. Beautiful sky above you. You can see the stars just blanketing the sky. The slight breeze kind of rustling the trees off in the distance, and just very, very peaceful. And it's quite dark, but there's a lot of starlight that gives off kind of enough light to make out some of the landscape by. And looking up to the northwest, where you'd seen that very large mountain and kind of where the foothills have kind of come out of, you see the very, very top, the very peak of the largest mountain that you can see. As you're watching, just kind of something obscures the sky a little bit. And then a few moments later, there's kind of like another something obscuring it. And the closer you look and the more you watch, you realize it looks like it's smoke. A little bit of smoke kind of rising. Just in every so often, a few little trails, wafts of smoke drifting up from the top of the mountain in the distance.
From the top of the mountain.
Yes.
Okay. Like towards Mount Furigasa?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Would Dinar have any like? Would that be on the map that we have? That mount?
You can give
that
me
volcano?
you can give me I'd say either history or history's probably the best.
Okay. I'm trained in history.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thankfully that's a +7. That's a 9, so 16 total.
16. Okay. You think for a moment, and you do recall the name Mount Furigosa. That's one of a few known dormant volcanoes, kind of in the Broken Isles. You don't know of any active volcanoes, but there are a few dormant ones, and this is one of the larger ones. So kind of putting two and together, and you see the smoke, you're like, oh, okay, that must be Mount Furigosa.
Is it? This is Mike asking as much as Dinar. Is it odd that there would be smoke coming from a volcano?
It doesn't strike you as odd.
Okay.
Somebody who, as one who's grown up pretty close to the dormant volcano, where the Stormlord makes his dwelling near Gungrim, you are familiar with volcanoes enough to know that even when they're not active per se, that there's still a lot of heat going on. There's still lava streams will burst out of them sometimes. There's smoke coming off of them. It's not unusual.
Okay.
And the amount that you're seeing isn't enough to give you alarm. It's just more kind of a curiosity, like, oh, that's a volcano.
Okay.
It's very far away.
Well, yes, I recognize that it's far on the map, but
It is, yeah.
Just curious. Okay.
But nothing else grabs your attention.
All right.
Taylind, in the middle of the night, deepest part of the night, you find yourself having a series of unsettling dreams, restless.
What else is new?
Some of them are kind of the events of the day. The last couple of days kind of passing through you again. One dream in particular, you kind of you find yourself alone on a rowboat, and you're surrounded by sea. It's nighttime. The air is cold, much colder than anywhere around the isles that you've traveled should be. There's a deep chill to the air, and the water is cold as well. There's no wind. You look around. There's no sign of land. The sky is very, very dark blue. There's no stars. And you're just there in a rowboat. And you look to either side. There's no oars. You look at the back of the boat. There's no rudder. No way to steer, no way to turn the boat. The water is still now, calm. And there's an absence of sound around you where it's just deathly quiet. Off in the distance, you start to see what looks like the outline of a ship. Not a large ship. You see a mast. Kind of make out a sail. And it looks like it's heading your direction. As it gets closer, you hear the sound of singing. Several voices deep, rough, singing body versions of sea shanties you know well. And one of the voices strikes you as oddly familiar. For some reason you can't place, but you feel like you should know this voice. You don't think you've ever heard it, but at the same time it's eerily familiar. The ship gets closer and closer. You see a figure now standing on the edge of the ship as it saddles up kind of beside you. Nothing propelling this boat. The sails are open, but there's no wind. It's just moving on its own. And the figure looks down at you. Just gives the tiniest little bit of a wave, accompanied by a laugh. Do you really want to find me, boy? And the dream ends. You move on to other random dreams. That one sticks with you. Torque. We come to your watch.
Roll himself awake. Just have a seat. Just listen to the wind. To the rustling of the trees. Now that he's got a quiet moment to himself, I think that he's going to try and just kind of open himself up to the universe and see if Despuna has any more messages for him.
Okay. Give me a religion check.
Okay.
Okay.
Probably nothing tonight then.
You can sense there's that connection with her is kind of always there, but it does seem a little bit more faint the farther inland you are right now, away from the sea. It seems to weaken that connection, and it's as though she's not fully beyond your reach, but just out of touch. And there's that sense of the farther you are away from the sea, the farther you are away from her as well.
I suppose it may come as a shock to you, now that I'm saving lives rather than taking them. But then again, it's for that reason that I'm here now instead of at the bottom of the ocean, isn't it? I am trying to abide by your will as best I can, but if you forgive me for saying so, your guidance thus far has been somewhat vague. If this is not the path you intended for me, then so be it. All I ask for is to be pointed in the correct direction, and thy will be done. And just kind of go back to meditating.
Somewhere off in the far distance, you hear the distant echo of thunder. It's gone as quickly as it came.
All right, then, keep your secrets.
Give me a perception check for your watch, if you would.
You got it. Dirty 20.
Man.
20. Okay. The night is calm and still. You see your companion Taylind twitching, muttering quite a bit in his sleep, but he is resting.
Trigger
Nothing
finger
else.
itching.
Yeah. Nothing else really seems to catch your attention, and as the first crack of light breaks over the horizon, and one by one your companions begin to stir, your watch ends peacefully.
Torp will get up and just put some dirt on the fire to smother it.
Taylind, you wake with a wicked headache. Your side is burning. You got cramps going on, like your body's just not the most comfortable, but you did get a full rest, so your exhaustion is gone. Mechanically.
Yeah.
But Taylind is feeling.
I feel like that's a bit of real life too. Whenever I get an actual good night's sleep, I'm like, mechanically my exhaustion is gone.
Technically I slept. But you feel a little bit more with it than you did the previous day. Although you're still in a little bit of a haze and kind of feeling a little heavy-headed. The captain kind of... Morning, boys.
Captain?
It certainly is.
Oh.
Torque is just gonna, his eyes just gonna twitch that he just inadvertently jinxed with Taylind there, and then just kind of look away.
Nice to see I'm rubbing off on you. I think you've spoken the most on this journey than I've heard you the entire rest of the time I've known you.
It becomes a requirement after a certain point. That doesn't mean I relish in it.
Oh, you should. Language is great.
He spent so long not talking, so, I mean, you gotta warm up those windpipes again. Shake the
Pick up
cobwebs
lost
out.
time and all, you know. It's,
Yeah.
it's important.
Looking immediately around, you do notice that Trobman is not in your immediate company. But after, as you guys are kind of packing up camp and stuff, about half an hour or so after you rise, he does come kind of strolling up towards you, kind of from the bottom of the hill to the south, in his regular dwarf form, and he kind of crests the hill. Well, looks like y'all got a good night's sleep, or at least a night's sleep. So you ready to press on? We really should get a move on.
Oh,
I agree.
think I need to
Let's
get my muscles moving.
walk.
Yep, let's get a move on.
All right.
You figure we'll get to the port by the end of today? Is that the plan?
Well, I sure hope so. Unless anything sees to stop us on the way, but we should be all right.
Noontime, middle of the afternoon, dusk. What are we aiming for here?
We should get there by supper.
That's a long trek, okay.
Works for me.
Yeah, this is jungle. I don't know if you haven't noticed, but there ain't paths really. This is mostly just kind of unsettled wilderness. So, I mean, if y'all could become like something like me, and we could travel like animals, that'd be might be easier. But
It would be really convenient, wouldn't it?
I'm assuming y'all don't have that ability.
No, but I do have these. And Torque holds up his boarding axes.
You
Just
do
point
just
us-
fine. Trees probably aren't your best friends right now, but that's all right. They're just trees.
Their sacrifice has been noted.
So Trobin, were you just scouting ahead?
Yep.
Do I believe him?
Make an insight check.
We don't know this guy, man. 13 plus 1, 14.
Seems reasonable. Seems legit. Yeah.
Okay.
Seems pretty on the level. So, I mean, you've seen him do it enough already that there's not a reason to think that that's not what he was doing. I mean, he could have been, taking a whiz somewhere, but
That's true. That's true.
Drawing all the dinosaurs here.
he is. Yeah, he's calling them. He's the dinosaur whisperer. That is. Yeah.
I figured as much.
Welcome to Jurassic Park. Yeah.
On to you.
Da da da. You hear it off the distance. Like, what? Sorry, we can't. Cretaceous Park. We can't use the copyright. So
We spared no expense.
Except royalties.
that's right.
We did what every company did. They spared no expense except on the IT department. And what happened?
That's right. Everything falls apart. All right. So, unless there's anything y'all want to do before you head off into the jungle.
Torque, go easy on hacking the trees, right? Like, we don't want to antagonize nature too much. Take it from me. She doesn't like that.
Good to see you taking up the mantle. And he's just going to press on.
Indoctrination's a hard thing to get out of, what can I say?
He seems especially surly this morning. This will be a delightful trip.
I mean, I got stiff muscles, a headache, and I feel like I want to throw up. I'm feeling great. This is a good day for me.
Totally. Staying in his dwarven form for the time being, Trobin leads you into the southern stretch of the jungle, back out of the foothills, kind of down into thicker canopy and growth. It is a little bit different. You notice as you enter the jungle here, it's a little bit more spaced out, not quite as rainforesty, but a little bit drier, larger trees, more spaced out, a little bit easier going, but it is still wild land, and it is there's not really any paths to follow, so you are kind of making your trek through lots of brush and vines and small ravines, and you do start to notice now as you get closer to the south, you do see a number of rivers. Some for the most part, they're small streams, creeks and the like, but there do seem to be several of them running kind of through the jungle here at this point. And you would all notice, as you are all sailors, that this is freshwater, and it is running south. So it does seem to be that the creeks are all heading south to the port, and they are freshwater. Yeah. Picking one of those streams, your guide actually steps right into the middle of it and just starts walking right down the middle of the stream. It's like maybe 6 inches or so, a foot at the deepest spot, and he's just walking right in it. Following it south. For Goblin, it's like you're drowning, but no. Yeah.
Oracle just trudged through as well.
Yep.
And he actually calls back over his shoulder. In case you're wondering, the water here is safer than the land, so a little bit more direct, sloshing around a bit, but I'd much rather step here than over there.
Oh, you'll get no complaints from me.
He points to the thick, you can see now there's like bushes, and even without a really close look, you can see some of the leaves almost look like they've got like sharpened edges. Like they look very sharp. You can see some that have like little jagged parts on them. Others that have like little prickles and thorns. Not a really nice place to walk in. So
fantastic.
How about that
Walking
kind of
through the water is
vegetation,
probably-
Taylind? Is it alright if Torque cuts that down?
Look, I'm not saying he can't. Oh, Lord. Do what you want.
I'm just hassling you.
As long as it's not elm. You really don't want to tick off elm.
Okay, good to know.
Elm, she hates mankind and waits till every gust be late to drop a limb on the head of him that anyway trusts her shade.
It's not like Torque is going like hog wild with the axes either. It's just like, machete through the jungle.
yeah.
Just clearing like the most linear path possible. just so people aren't, walking through these sharp leaves or anything.
Devin, I was wondering where the shanties were tonight, man. There we go.
Oak and dash and corn, good sirs, all on a midsummer's morn.
That's a good one.
Surely we'll sing of no little thing in oak and dash and thorn.
I know that one. All right. As you continue through the jungle, it's pretty easy going now with your guide leading you south. It is a stretch. You do have to stop a few times. Take a break, have some food. Kind of rewrap your feet, kind of take your feet out of the boots, give them a bit of a rub down. That kind of standard trekking through wilderness. And but you do manage to make your way safely without any other incident to the fabled port of Sands, Porto de Arias, free port.
Huzzah!
To pirates and freebooters and the like. And as you get closer now, you can see the sun is just starting to set. And as it does so, the port ahead of you, the river kind of gradually leads to some clearing and land that takes you around sort of the eastern side of the city, and then eventually there's a path and a road that actually leads into the city itself. And as you approach the walls and the gate on that side, the rooftops of the city catch the light and begin to glisten and glimmer and just give off a really nice golden picturesque view. And you can hear the sounds of civilization. There's merriment, there's laughing, you can hear the sounds of trades work, you can hear ships and ship bells, and there's it's for those of you who've been, you've been out in wilderness as much as you can enjoy wilderness, but when it's a hard trek through wilderness and you finally hear the sounds of potential comfort ahead of you and see those sights, it's just something to kind of breathe in. And you can see the captain and the three crew members are just like practically drooling, and Captain Booney's like, there she is, boys. The jewel of these here parts. Wasn't exactly how I planned on making it here. I was hoping to sail right into her docks, but here we are nonetheless. And you get within about 100 feet or so, and Trubin just kind of stops and goes no further. All right. There she is. You made it safe?
Well,
all right, well, see ya. He just kind of turns and starts walking back.
Thanks, man. Thanks for showing us your island, eh?
Winds be at your back, friend.
Aye. May they fill your sails too. And he literally just walks off and doesn't say another word. And he gets about, a few yards away from you, and he just like turns into his leopard, just runs off into the woods.
Wow.
Captain stands looking at the wall.
I, for one, am going to go and re-find myself among my people.
Well, I guess it's time to put the question to us. We want to find some lodging for the night.
Precisely.
And take care of business in the morning, or should we head straight to
that would be my preference, but
Jordan's Tower? I mean, he could put us up with some nice amenities if we wanted to.
Something tells me it's not going to be quite as homely as, and I'm just going to point to a random bar where some guy gets thrown out of a window. That place looks great.
There are several of those as you walk in through the gates. There's a couple of guards there, but they're not really like guards. They're just kind of, they almost seem like they're just folk hanging out. They're well armed.
Militia.
Watch you, just kind of like, give a nod. One of them is one of the Twaddle, which is the axolotl folk. So very small, very large eyes, and these kind of like, fins kind of coming off the back of the head, and just walks. And you can see like it's kind of like holding itself up, like trying to be tall and intimidating as you all walk, and kind of like sizes itself up to Flick, especially like
Oh, Wave's song, those are adorable.
It looks at you and is like, hey, we ain't little creatures or pets for you to call adorable, all right? We got feelings, we got names.
All right.
And don't mind him.
But thank you.
Me half the time.
It's like, but thank you. And it kind of like awkwardly like puts his arms together and like leans up against the wall and like,
Hey, where's the best place to get a good song and drink in this this lovely town?
you're kidding, right?
I'm just gonna gesture to our torn clothes and bedraggled crew.
Pick a building. And if that one ain't got drinks, the one next to it probably does.
That's what I was hoping you'd say.
But you probably want to head over to port side. Port side is where, well, just take a step around the stone, go all the way around. Port side. Captain's like, yeah, I know what he's talking about.
Duly noted.
What he means is we want to get, we're more likely to find accommodations if we're not in the territory of the 6 ships. If we head over to port side, where it's kind of more anyone and everyone can just mingle about. So,
Sorry, the 6 ships? What the heck's that?
well, you see that? And he points kind of beside you, and you can see there's what appears to be kind of a compound that's actually walled off. And looking down the street, you can see a few other compounds similarly that have a number of buildings inside of the walls, and they seem to be very distinctly separated from sort of the main thoroughfares. And then he points up to a very high rock that is, kind of juts up out of the water. And again, with like big walls running around it, you can just make out the tops of some of the buildings within. Those compounds there are home to the 6 ships. They're sort of the captains, if you will, who run the town. So being a member of one of the ships earns you certain privileges and the ability to shop and peruse and partake of certain things within this side of the city, whereas those who are not members of a ship, well, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of amenities to be had over in port side, but as none of us belong to one of the 6 ships, we best head over to that side. That is, unless we want to head right to Jordan's Tower, which is just right at the north end of this side of the docks here.
Is that where your friend is?
Yeah, it's his tower.
Oh.
I'm more partial to spend some time with the sailors here, but
I mean, we can be social and poke our heads in and say, hey, and if he doesn't look like he's putting us up well, we can always go slumming later, eh?
He points, you can easily see, he points at this tower that is just rising up. It's already sitting up on rocks, and it's like rising up above the rest of the city. And it's like every layer, every level of the tower has like different colors and different architecture, none of which fit together.
I swear if he's a gnome.
It's like it is this mismatched collection of pastel colors, and there's some like dwarven design and like slim elven design. There's all kinds of different architecture just built into this thing, and it's weirdly off-putting but beautiful at the same time.
I mean, it looks like he has an interesting home. Maybe he's an interesting guy who has interesting drinks.
You have no idea. He can whip you up something to drink for sure.
I mean, I'm trying. This is my pitch for our hesitant friend here. So,
but if you'd rather collect yourselves, get our heads on straight, as it were, before we get down to business, I got some business I can take care of over in Portside, anyways, and start putting some feelers out for collecting some debts and seeing about a ship. So, or I'm happy to go deal with that business and leave you gents to what you will for the time being.
How's about this? We will meet you at Joran's Tower, the crack at 10 a.m. tomorrow. How's that sound?
I think that sounds good.
Fantastic.
Yep, without any kind of ship, we're not exactly in a rush, so
Yeah.
might as well
I
take the
figure
night to
Well, yeah,
collect
we-
ourselves.
Once Taylind ties one on 10 a.m., it's going to be pushing it anyway. So
If I wasn't so tired and achy, I'd slap you in the head.
All right, gents.
oh, you know it's true when you know you love me.
All right. Well, crew and I will head down to the docks. I got to talk to the harbor master there. It's been a while since I've paid him a visit, anyways, so it'd be good to catch up. And I mean, it's gonna be a lot of business talk, talking ships and the like. So I imagine you probably want to find your pleasures elsewhere, and then we'll meet at Jordan's in the morning. Then
Oh, it'll be good to be.
I'll bring the
in a
crew with me.
proper-
They can find a spot by the docks, more their speed. Aye, Captain.
It'll be good to be in a proper dock workers pub again.
You got plenty of those.
Yeah, let's get out of hoity-toity town here. This is
Sounds good to me.
giving me the Wiggins.
We send
But
the
I was actually say that, like,
youngsters down.
It's not even that, like, as you look around, it's not that this side of the town is more posh. But you do notice that those who are walking, kind of up and down the streets, whatever, usually in groups more often than not, are wearing very distinctive colors or uniforms that identify them as belonging to one ship or another.
Oh, I'm familiar with this kind of attitude.
Yeah.
They are an exclusive crew, huh?
But there's all manner of sorts of them too. Like, I mean, you can clearly see some who are just like straight up crew, dock workers, trades workers, some who've got more of kind of a noble, pirate-esque air to them, like, frilly shirt, kind of looking flashy. Others who are, wearing, rough leathers and cloth. It really is a mismatch, and there are
Metropolitan.
and there are members of like every race, all beast folk, like just there's anybody and everybody makes their home in the port of Sands.
Someday there will be a seventh ship, eh?
Never know.
Well, let's go see just how welcoming this town is, shall we?
Indeed.
Onward, gents. Send the anchors rolling down, because this night we spend ashore. We leave the ship and go to town. This night we spend ashore. Taylin's much happier.
More than once. If you're like singing shanties as you walk along,
Oh yeah,
random people on the street join in.
this is my
Reverse
place.
and be like, hey, and they just start singing along as they keep walking, and they kind of give a tip of the hat or whatever.
Can I move here like in real life?
I
No,
mean,
it'd probably be in Nova Scotia. I don't really live in Nova Scotia.
it doesn't it exists in my brain. I don't really want you to move into my brain, but anyway. You make your way through the ship's quarter and out through. It's funny, like you can tell that it's meant to be like a fancy gate of sorts that kind of marks off the area of the ships, but it's really not fancy. It's like haphazardly painted wood, but that just kind of like symbolically marks, here you're stepping into the ships, and there's a purposefulness to it. You can tell that it's not meant to be here's where the rich folk are, but it's more just like this is where the crew for the ships are, and on the other side of this is open to everybody. And so it's just kind of like a physical barrier, almost for the sake, almost like they felt like they needed to put one up but weren't really sure why. It's kind of a weird thing as you walk through, and it's like, oh, okay, there's like carvings on it, and like, doesn't really seem to be any upkeep or maintenance put to it, right? There's like paint chipping off, so it's kind of a weird thing. But as you cross through that and over a small bridge, the open air of Portside is before you, and you can see all manner of types. There's houses that are made out of brick and mortar. There's you see some thatch roof houses. Some are kind of like what do they call it? Mud and or like daub. What?
Adobe? Like no?
Yeah, something like that. But there's all kind of like there's construction from all over the place. It's very haphazard, and you can see that people have brought with them various different styles of architecture and taste from wherever they've perhaps come from to make Port of Sands home. And so it is very much a mishmash of different styles and architecture and culture all kind of thrown in together. You hear music, like even as the sun is already setting, there's just music is still echoing, down every street. Vendors are still selling their wares kind of in an open market, which is like as you cross the bridge, right before you is this big wide open market. And there's actually some entertainers in there. There's some buskers and jugglers and stuff as well. Very much just a place full of merriment and not seem to be too many cares as people are just kind of going about here and there.
Have I said before that I love this place? Because I love this place. Much better than that stuffy old other towns.
It is very different from towns you've been in, yeah, comparatively.
So what are we looking for, gents? Place to sit down?
Oh, I guess we just pick a place. Anything strike your fancy? I always find you can judge the quality of a good sailor's pub by the name. The better the name, the better the place. I went to this one place called Food and Drink. About as cut and dry as the name of the establishment, I'll tell you. This other one, though, the Splurge and Sturgeon, now that place was great.
Okay. I'll have to take your word for it.
Okay.
Place back up north, what was it called? It was the Peg Leg and Stump. It was an interesting atmosphere, but let me tell you, the house ale there would knock you on the floor, even you, Taylind. It was quite the place, and the house band was fantastic. It fit right in again, and of course, the waitresses were. They made it worth the trip, let me say.
Good pub can make or break a vacation.
Is this a vacation?
It feels like one, doesn't it?
I suppose.
Torque has nothing to contribute at the moment.
Well, hey, we have to go find a good place and drink for 30.
So
That's true.
if you're looking for trying to find get the lay of the land of like sort of the best place to drink, you can go ahead and give me a persuasion check, any of you, as you're kind of talking up the locals.
These are my people. I'll take care of this.
Are you sure? I mean, I've got a +2.
Orc's version is, tell me where to drink.
20.
20. You stop an orc, kind of strolling by with long black braided hair behind her, and as you kind of grab her attention, she kind of looks the four of you up and down, and she walks over. Oh, well, ain't this an interesting group, the four of yous? What can I do for you here in the Port Sands?
We
Aye.
have been traveling for a very long time through harsh environment and need a good place to sit down, have some drink, enjoy good company, and wonderful music. Now, I understand there are many such establishments here, but we're looking for the little holes in the walls, the ones that the locals say, because there's always those tourist traps. We want to avoid those. Go to the ones that no one knows about, but are the gems, the diamonds in the rough.
Interesting. Well, I mean, there's a fancy little place. Well, I say fancy. You understand what I mean when I use the word, right? But it's called Delvin's Deluge. It's you can't really miss it. You go to the far corner of town, way over there. Looks just like a house, really. So Delvin's Deluge is a good spot. But I mean, there's always the dusk. I mean, the dusk is the place to go if you can spare it. As she just points kind of out over the docks, and you can see this long pier that leads out to what literally appears to be a wrecked ship that has been turned into a pub.
Oh, hell yes.
One of those themed restaurants.
Is that just an extra little piece of tidbit. Either of these places have in terms of health inspection level, on a scale of 1 to 5, how much would they care about rat infestations?
My friend, you're in the Port of Sands. We ain't got no
This is
health
why-
inspection
This is
here.
why I'm asking. This is important information.
That would be too akin to something on the level of government, which we don't really fly with here. So, I mean, it's not like you're going to be, drinking swine unless that's what you want. But
No. I'm just. Do they care about general infestations at all?
I'm curious as to the nature of your questioning.
I just
are you
wanna-
looking to eat some?
I just want to make sure that we're not going to someplace that would be considered utterly filthy. I want owners who respect their establishment, who are willing to,
All right.
they care about the appearance of the place that they run a business.
I understand then. Definitely don't go to Delvin's Deluge then. That place is a filthy hole. But that's so I misunderstood your questioning. It sounded like you wanted a filthy hole, and that one is definitely a filthy hole. But if you want somewhere that's got good food and is above the level, but still has the right kind of atmosphere, then the dusk is definitely where you want to go.
Sounds
You know,
good to
not
me.
about floor snacks, but if you want to eat stuff off the table too, I guess that's all right.
Before
Thank
you
you very
go,
much. You've been. Oh,
Before you go,
Hi.
where would somebody more attuned to the arcane go to peruse items of that sort?
I mean, you can always try the open market. There's vendors there. I've got all kinds of things that they're usually selling. But typically that sort of thing is you're going to be more likely to find over in the ships. There are a few shops there that will cater to those who don't belong to a ship, if you've got the right amount of coin. If you understand what I'm saying there. But other than that, you just got to try some of the random vendors. There ain't really a magic shop, as it were, here in Portside, but I mean, ask around, look around. I'm sure you can find something.
Okay, thank you.
you've been
You're welcome.
wonderfully helpful.
Well, enjoy your stay.
So, fellas, what do we do in terms of? I know we have a chest of gold that we don't really want to be spending. How are we looking for money aside from that?
You mean like
Yeah,
how much do we
need to,
got?
Make this here booty a little more liquid, eh?
Well, we could certainly do that. That seems like a tomorrow thing.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I've got a pocket change. See what I
Park is going to take out his coin purse. 1, 2.
All right.
I
Well,
have
look.
226 gold pieces.
How's about see what I can do? Maybe get us a few free drinks, possibly a little bit of extra coin.
I mean, I won't say no.
It's worth a shot. It's
And-
much more effective in normal port cities where you have a little bit of a higher threshold of cleanliness, but worth a shot.
Are you suggesting that you're going to gamble for more money?
No, of course not. That's
No,
just
he's
wondering
gonna
how you're-
whore himself out for more money. It'll be
no. Just watch. Just
Do I have to give you my money to do this?
no. Just
Okay.
go with it. Just be cool and go with it.
I'll do
We'll,
my best.
we'll make our way to the skeleton of this ship.
And
All right.
gee, by the way, if my inkling about the captain's friend, Joran, is correct, he might be able to hook us up with some magical goodies too. So
It's true.
Wizards do like to live in towers. This is this.
That's a good point. Yeah.
You need somewhere to put all their stuff. Cheaper to build up than out.
I guess, yeah.
All right.
So before we enter the establishment, I am going to reach into a pocket, pull out a tuft of fur, and conjure up a little rat. All right, now you know what to do. You're gonna go in there, freak him out a little bit, and then we'll make our dramatic entrance. Okay? Yeah, got it.
All right. Now, are you trying to do this like without anybody noticing? There's quite a there's
In theory, yes, but I figure if I get Torque and Dinar and them to stand around, we might be able to form a wall of people to.
There is quite a bit of traffic in and out. Like, this does seem to be a very popular establishment. So, I will have you do a stealth check
Okay.
because you are trying to be sneaky.
And I'm guessing my boots are not going to come into effect here.
Not for this sake, no, because
Yes,
it's not
okay.
movement. Yeah,
That's what I figured. 20.
Ooh,
20.
nice.
Okay. Nobody passing by seems to.
So I'm gonna run my usual.
Nobody pays more attention to a group of sailors together in this city than they would normally. I mean,
Sure. So I'm gonna run my usual grift of sending the rat in, have him go around, and then we'll offer our services up as exterminators.
Okay. So you're sending your rat in, runs into the tavern.
I want to point out again, this isn't a rat; it's the familiar, so it's intelligent enough to know not to make itself visible enough, but not visible enough that it's going to get skewered immediately.
Okay.
The whole point is that we need to be able to have enough time for it to be visible so that we can then get in and say, oh, you have a rat problem? Well, we can cover that for you. No problem, sir.
All right.
Again, I'm not, it's 50-50 here because this is a little more of a seedier establishment. This works really well on sort of the more higher up places of repute in other port towns, but worth a shot.
We went to the Dusk, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because the other place wouldn't care.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. From what you understood, Delvin's Deluge, like, it is a hole.
Yeah.
So that if they saw
They'd
a
be
rat,
like-
they'd probably try to feed it.
Yeah, they'd be like, exterminators, what are you doing here?
It's like, feed the rat, be like, here, want some peanuts? Like,
Yep.
right,
they
that's
wouldn't
like
really
we're
do.
saying, those are the floor snacks, right? It's,
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Their work is vacuums.
That's right. Very literally. Okay, so you send your familiar in, and how long are you waiting?
Usually it's a customary 7 minutes, 6-7 minutes. You want to give it enough time for it to be a thing, and then the story would then be we heard a commotion about potentially a rat. We can take care of that for you. Maybe we'll get a couple drinks out of it.
Okay.
Again, we'll see.
Okay. A couple minutes go by. You do hear kind of like, ow! Hey, you see that? Another minute.
Yeah, there it is.
Number of gunshots.
I was waiting for that.
Hey! You hear some cheering.
Okay,
Kinda
give it
went in
another 3 minutes after what I just said, and pretend like nothing happened. It was worth a try.
Is this plan going according
there.
to...
You
No?
This
Okay.
This is not. Again, it was
you
a 50-50
are aware
shot.
when your familiar winks out of existence, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you definitely felt that.
Yeah.
Gone.
I kind of figured they would not have any qualms about just unloading
It's a pirate bar.
in the bar.
Yep.
I mean,
Again,
let's be fair. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting anything fantastic out of this, but I figured it was worth a try.
Yep.
Mind you, it did take 4 people to react enough to.
He's good at this job. This was a primary way of making money on the streets.
There you go.
Mm.
All right. So you enter into the dusk.
Yes.
All right. It is very much a ship that has been turned into part tavern, part dance hall, part gambling den. Rather than the upper levels, normally in a tavern or an inn, the sleeping chambers would be above, whereas the main deck above, there's like kind of open air seating, and the deck that you enter into is what would be the cannon deck. Is sort of where the main entrance is, and the cannon portholes have been turned into windows. One of them actually does still kind of like have a cannon hanging out of it. You can see somebody there's just a guy literally sitting on the edge of the cannon, just having a drink. Just kind of part of the atmosphere. And then the lower decks, which are still above water because this thing has kind of been run right up onto the rocks. But there are sleeping quarters below, where they've created some portholes, and they've taken what normally would have been the kind of the main hold in this ship and turned it into some different sleeping quarters stuff below. But the music is loud, the people are loud, and there are wonderful smells coming from inside. A lot of spices, various spices kind of fill the air, and everything smells delicious. It's pungent. There's an odor in the air. The air is heavy with various smells and scents and even just kind of like smokes here and there from different things. You can see some incense burning on the wall in various spots. Lots of torches around. It's everything you would expect a old ship turned into a pirate tavern to be. And it's quite full, but you do manage to find a table that can just barely kind of fit the four of you, kind of off behind one of they've kind of used the ribbing of the ship and created some, not walls, but they've put up
Almost like booths.
like canvas barriers kind of between them. Like they've hung canvas and stuff, or on poles in the spots. And so, yeah, you kind of find one little spot off into the corner that is free. It's not clean. Like the tables, they don't get cleaned. You literally just kind of have to walk up, and if there's anything on the table, you just kind of dust it off at your own will.
Interesting.
Your own necessity.
How bad is that other place?
Oh, trust me, you don't.
I'm sure I don't want to know, but if that's the standard here, oh boy.
After a few moments, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, is this like they come to us? We have to go up to the bar, dip and sip. Like, what are we looking at?
After a few minutes, you are approached by one of the servers who appears to be a bit of a ragged-looking lizard folk.
Nice.
And she's got like a big scar down one shoulder. You can see a lot of her scales have been ripped off, and it looks like you can clearly see some large teeth marks, like she got bit by something big at some point in the past. But she's got the kind of frills that come off of her head that are worn long, and she's got lots of beads kind of hanging from them. And she's just wearing very simple kind of leather getup. And she approaches and just kind of takes the four of you in.
Niska has not seen you here before. You are new to the dusk, aren't you?
Yes.
What can Niska do for you?
We have had a very, very long journey and wish to forget about it promptly.
So says everyone who comes in. You are at home
Sure
then.
We had to scuttle a ship on our way here. We've got some fallen comrades to toast tonight. Can you make sure we're hooked up there?
You just want ale?
Yeah, can we just get like a pony keg or something?
Of course.
I love
I
this
will-
place.
Just one. Do you want anything else? We've got lots of food. It's very tasty.
Oh, I would.
Types of fish.
I assume it's mostly fish. Sure. Why not?
Yep.
Got anything on the undercooked side or a little on the rotten side? That'd be fantastic.
I'm sure that we can work that up. We do serve a variety of clients of different types here, so
Yes. Obviously, the goblin fare over here.
I think I know exactly what to bring you, my friend. What about for the large one? What would you like, my big turtle shell friend?
Cooked food will be sufficient.
Okay. Mr. Dragonborn with the nice scales?
Yeah.
We'll probably have lobster and prime rib.
No. I mean, if you have it, sure. But okay, then whatever. Just give me a big platter of food. It's been a while since we've really eaten a good meal, so I want like a platter of food, please.
I will bring out a nice platter of a variety of different types of fish and different things for all of you, and I think you will be most happy we don't leave customers wanting here at the dusk.
Sounds
We'll be
fantastic.
back with your foods. There is a table fee of 2 gold flat. If you're all going to be eating, that will cover the initial meal and round of drinks, don't worry.
Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. Torek, you got this, right? You just said you were loaded.
It's true. This is much more money than I've seen in a long time.
So parting with 2 coins won't do you any harm.
All right, I will be back with everything to make you happy.
Is that 2 gold or?
Yes.
2 gold,
Okay.
like not each, but just that covers like your first round of drinks each and kind of the initial food platter, like
Oh,
not hors
that's all.
d'oeuvres,
Okay.
but yeah.
Of
The
course.
It's like the expectation is that if you're coming in here, you're drinking and eating and you're paying for it. So
No layabouts.
yeah.
Makes sense.
So, all right. A little bit later, Niska comes back with a couple of helpers and brings you seafood platter of every type of fish that you can imagine. Some are well cooked, some are a little bit more on the raw side. There's some sushi elements to it. There are some fish heads with like kind of rotten lettuce wrapped around it, like.
Yeah. Just bring
No.
that all over here.
And the ale it's good. It's not the best you've had. It's not like the worst either. It's probably middle fare, decent.
Hey, it's it's fine. It's all that matters.
Yep. We're toasting some good friends.
Hey. Is there music here?
Not yet.
Is it any good?
It's pretty good actually. Yeah.
All right. Good.
You can see on the one end, sort of towards what would be the front of the ship, the front of this deck, there is like a little stage that's been set up. It's kind of like a dance hall area in front of it, where there are some rather enthusiastic, not mistaken enthusiastic for good, dancing happening, and there are a number of individuals, just kind of playing all sea shanties, of course, various types, and yeah, it's pretty decent.
This is much better than that place that had all those pre-recorded ones.
Yeah.
There is definitely a more lively element to it. Yeah, like
If I don't like the song, I can actually throw peanuts at these guys.
Yeah, there was a lot to dissect about that whole Ivory Spire, Ivory Port. That place was weird.
You can say that twice.
I mean, I won't, but yeah, I understand.
I like it here. I'd be all right with hanging out here for a little bit.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
we're
it's
just
gonna be a
gonna-
while.
just cup his hands under a bowl of some sort of fish stew and just, just breathe in the steam, just savor the aroma before he starts drinking.
Man, I'm getting hungry.
Give me a perception check.
This is making me want to go to a nice restaurant right now.
I know.
Sit down with some friends.
I haven't been at a pub in over a year.
That was almost a 4.
Lift up your, so you lift up your stew. You pick it out of the smorgasbord, and you kind of, you're about to sip it. You see some turtle meat.
Old family recipe. And there's a bit of the old family.
It's not turtle meat, but it is like, this is turtle soup. You're like, oh, there's some turtle in there.
You're just gonna put it down and just kind of push the bowl over to Flick and go pick out something else.
There's lots to choose from, but yeah.
The equivalent of us eating monkey, right? Like that's kind of the
Yeah, more or less.
Still a bit of a moral quandary.
Although I apparently giant tortoise is the most delicious thing on this planet.
I don't want to find out because they should not be eaten. But anyways,
no, they shouldn't be.
Endangered.
That's why though.
Exactly.
That's why they're endangered.
So yeah, Flick gets this.
Let's move away from depressing stuff.
The fish heads are not being dipped in the stew as he starts chewing on. It's a sight to see.
They got like salt and malt vinegar here.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I'm taking swigs from that then, as I'm.
So you're eating half-rotten food with malt vinegar?
Absolutely.
Oh, we need to move to a different table.
Oh boy,
this is not gonna work.
It'll all be gone soon. The smell will waft away.
That smell's gonna be here a while.
To be fair though, as you look, I'd say like you take a peek around and you can see like there's other goblins, there's lizard folk, there's orcs, there's dwarves, there's humans, there's Stydian bear folk, like there's everything. And so the variety of food really is, like Niska was saying, like they've got a little bit of everything to kind of cater to all tastes. So you're not really going to escape seeing or smelling things that you probably wouldn't want to eat.
I'll just take some some beer battered cod. I'll be happy with that.
Sounds good. All right.
Yeah, we'll hang out here for a bit. I think just taking in all of the local flavor.
Sure.
Both literally and figuratively.
And the safety of being inside civilization for a
long
night.
road behind us, so it's nice to be able to have a bit of a respite.
I don't know about the rest of you, but I doubt we're gonna get a ship in a day, so we might as well get comfortable.
Yeah, I was wondering what you thought of the captain's prospects of scaring something up in short order.
He seems to have a lot of connections, but even for him, getting a whole ship in a single night seems a tad bit of a tall order.
It's true.
Yeah. As we're sort of here, I'm going to be surveying. Do we see anyone who's like wearing like Redwater pirate colors, or is this like?
Not, I would say not at first glance. You can give me a perception, or if you want to be like very, very thorough, you can give me investigation. But
I'm just sort of survey the room as we're.
You do not.
Nothing jumps now. Yeah,
No.
Just making sure that as much as we're feeling relaxed here, I don't want to necessarily loosen the tongues entirely and talk freely about everything out in the open. But,
How about
you do not see anyone wearing that sort of garb at all.
How about any Gungrim dwarves?
There's a few.
There's a few.
Yeah.
Whalers.
Easily enough to tell by I mean Gungrim dwarves, they tend to stand a little bit taller on average than many of their kin, and there's definitely a saltiness, and I mean that like literally to their their hair and their faces. Like you can see the effect that years at sea have had as opposed to the ruggedness that comes with kind of life underground in the mountains. And so That and their attire, like you can pick out a few.
Are there any wearing like a naval attire?
Nothing. None of them are wearing like official uniform at all. No.
I suppose in a pirate bay they might not be welcomed
Probably
here
not.
per se.
I think
Okay.
the other thing that I'd be keeping my ears open for would be other talk of encounters with undead pirate ships, right? Like this is the thing that took us
Mm.
out. So if there's more talk in town, in the port,
Assuming we're here for several hours, at some point Taylor's going to start going around telling stories about how they took on an entire ship full of zombies.
yeah,
And
Okay. I'll give you so if either of you wants to make a perception, you could do so with advantage. I would consider it kind of telling the tale
alrighty,
to help out. So
I'll go ahead.
or
and
you
take
could
care of that one.
both make separate either way. But
okay, go ahead
Okay,
with advantage.
23. Yeah, that expertise is a nice feature.
Yep, it is.
so you start to tell some of these tales about about the ship that you encountered. I'm assuming this is the one that was flying the red water flag.
Yes.
Okay. And you can tell as you sort of get into the tale that there are definitely a number of individuals who are listening in keenly without trying to be obvious that they're listening. You've definitely caught the attention of more than one table, even as it were. And there are a number, even as you're looking around, kind of, telling the tale, you do see a handful of like a couple of nods of kind of agreement and a few kind of like, whispering back and forth. And one table that you're speaking to, the folks that are sitting there, one of them mentions not personally encountering such a ship, but hearing a similar tale from other people he knows. There's been talk in the docks of strange sightings, and not just in the Sea of Souls, but kind of on the outskirts of it as well. That there has been an increase in sort of weird things happening, and you hear secondary confirmation of undead to the north. The same as the dwarf had mentioned, that they have actually kind of come onto the shore now of the Port of Sands, whereas but they hadn't really done that before. So there definitely does seem to be rumors and talk of an increase in sort of undead encounters and their presence.
Neat.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna throw into every one of these little conversations. We're gonna see if anybody's heard of any recent sights of a certain whaling ship.
Okay.
I doubt it this far south, but you never know.
Give me a I'm gonna do this. Give me an insight.
This is a great time for me to say I actually do miss the Streetwise skill. From
I know.
fourth edition.
I really do.
I really wish
so
they
good.
kept Streetwise in.
Streetwise makes a lot of sense.
19.
Okay. So we'll play this as you try to get a beat on the right people to ask, as you're kind of reading the tables and reading individuals and looking for the folk who might have more connection in sort of those circles, perhaps. And there aren't any whaling ships around here, but you do run into one individual who did mention a handful of ships, probably about 3 or 4 ships, who had recently sailed into Galadrin to restock for supplies. And this is probably going back about 3 or 4 weeks or so. This is where they came from. They came from Galadrin down to Port of Sands, and so while they were at the docks there, it was noticeable because there was a small contingent of them that were restocking and resupplying to make their way into the North Sea.
All right. So anyway, there were like 60 zombies on this ship. And my buddy Dinar over there, that guy, you see that one right there. Hey, what's going on? Anyway, yeah.
Hey,
So
Taylind.
he literally, fire flew out of his fingers, and they all just were obliterated down to piles of ashes. But we see what we didn't know was that they had a second ship underwater, and it came out underneath our ship. This is about the 12th time he's told the story at this point, so it's completely gone now. It's so out there.
Of course, and people are expecting that. There's a few people who have already heard the story a few times, and each time you tell it, they're just like, hey, like it's the expectation that the tales get crazier the more they're told. So yeah, it fits in perfectly well.
And my boy Flick over there throwing daggers 90 feet out, getting them right in the eye sockets.
It's the damnedest thing if you can pull it off, let me tell you.
That one's actually kind of half. That's a half stretch.
It's a half stretch, yeah. All right.
I'm waiting for the day that something happens where I'm like, I don't even need to embellish.
That's just literally what happened.
It's just amazing.
I'm working on it.
We're at level 15 or so.
Yeah.
It's a question for point of order for you guys. Are you looking to find lodging here as well, or do you want to look?
I'm all right with that. If they have lodging here, I figured I was actually going to bring that up. Yeah, if they have lodging here, then I don't see why not.
Yeah. Yep, they have rooms in the lower bunks. Like there are some rooms. It costs more to kind of.
Not getting raised on is already going to be a perk. So, I mean, yeah, we're not looking for anything fancy.
Is this? So you said this is like a wrecked ship. Is it like actually afloat, or is it just kind of?
It's fully out of the water.
On the land. Okay.
No, it's fully out of the water, up on rocks.
Okay, it's still going to be more comfortable than an actual bed in an actual place for Taylind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And probably Dinar.
Mm-hmm.
It's like sleeping on a marshmallow.
Yeah, so you can secure if you're not concerned about privacy. There's just bunks and cots, kind of in general sleeping quarters, that you can secure for 2 silver each. Or you
I got it covered.
Or you can get a room that would house the 4 of you. But they come at a premium. More expensive than it should be, and you kind of know that as you hear the price, but it would be 3 gold. And it's not a nice room. It's just like, it's literally, you're not sleeping with anybody else around you. That's
it has
what you're
walls.
paying for, kind of, yeah.
You know what?
But it's small, and it has like option. It has 4 beds that you could.
As much as I love this place, I know I'm smart enough to know I'm not okay with being asleep with all of my belongings next to some guy I don't know.
Yeah, that probably makes sense to get the
Torque
room.
would also vouch for the privacy.
Yeah, so it's got 1 bunk bed and then
especially
2
with
cots
Mr. Jingle Jangles
in
here.
it, so.
I will spring for the premium accommodations here. It's this one's on me, guys.
Very kind of you, Flick.
3 gold. Yeah. And it does come with a key, which you are given, and which you were able to lock the door with. So.
It's Sark. I was talking to those guys over there, and I got a lot of really cool information about that weird black ship that we were. Anyway, in order to get that, I said you'd buy them a round of drinks.
Did you know?
Yeah.
Well,
I knew you were good for it. Thanks, buddy. Hey, barkeep, who are those guys? He's paying.
I should have let the bugs eat you.
Flick is going to spend some time with that key. He's going to duplicate it with a minor illusion and then use that as sort of a template so he can practice his lockpicking.
Ooh.
Just sort of he's putting his skills to use here. So he's just
Interesting. I like it.
so if we need to, he's got this, and he'll also trace a copy of it on some paper. Just he's got tools. He wants to see what he can do with these things now that he knows how to do this stuff. So he's branching out a bit here.
All right.
There's some things that I would like to do talking with the Gungrim dwarves, but I've realized, Craig, that unless you understand the backstory to it, it would be pointless to have that conversation. So I'll just call it a night. And I think I'm gonna have to send you. It's like a paragraph, but
Sure.
Then you'll have some more insight into what questions I might be asking.
Yeah. You send me the 17-page.
No.
backstory,
It's like it's 3/4 of a page. It's one paragraph. It's narrative as well. Like it's
more than I sent him. I sent him my entire backstory in song.
It's true. He literally did. He literally did.
Mine was just we were having our session 0, and then I was like, I was like, hey Craig, after we adjourn here, do you mind hanging back for like 10 minutes?
Yeah. Hey, it's all good. It's all good.
And mine was rendered in crayon, so it's
They're all unique, and that's what makes it wonderful. All right. Well, as you head in for lodging for the evening, then we will call our session there, and we'll pick it up next time in the dusk, a tavern and inn in Porto de Arias, the Port of Sands, as you seek to meet up with the captain and his wizard friend in the morning.
I really hope it's not a gnome.
definitely not a no.
I think we established last session that he's just a really old human.
Yes,
Yes.
the captain did mention that. Yeah,
Okay.
he's a human
Oh,
who's older than he should be. He did mention
Yes.
that, but
Oh yeah, that's right.
Well, wizards.
no.
Yeah, the captain seems to know a lot of crazy old people. This is
Yes, he
He's
does.
been around.
a bit of a
Yeah.
trend.
Especially wizards like this who live on the coast. I mean, man, you never know what they're up to. So
Never know.
never know. All right, thank you all for joining in. If you're watching this on the YouTubes, please subscribe and continue to check us out. Follow us and subscribe on Twitch, and follow us on Twitter. You can catch our audio versions of this as well as podcasts on Podbean, so check us out in those different formats. And hey, if you like what we do, then please tell your friends so that they can come and hang out and watch us do nerdy things and see Faring Shenanigans as well. So yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.